I heard Isaiah Thomas is already not happy with his role. It's a little early for that. But say hi to everybody on the Hangout. We're up.
We're up on the Hangout. Outstanding.
Got that up and going now?
Pollo Loco. Kobe. See, I feel bad for Kobe. I do. I feel bad for Kobe.
I'm thinking there's a lot of people that don't feel bad for him.
First off, I already told you guys that he's going to average more than 20 points a game.
He's going to have to.
But, I mean, that's what I was seeing, and which is why I was saying when the rankings came out and they put him at 40, I didn't think that was quite fair.
No, but I
top 20.
I think there's still going to be a lot of people out there that are going to be like, you know what? Big deal.
What they did was they looked at Kobe, and then they looked at the team and said, well, they're not going to win anything, so we'll just throw him in the back. But when you do power rankings on individual players, you got to take that individual for what that individual is going to do. And he's going to average 20 to 25, and he'll get 5 or 6 rebounds, and he'll do his 2 or 3 assists a night, and that's all he needs to do. I mean, it's not their fault that
not going to –
they spent, you know, the other half of the money for the Lakers on a broke down former Phoenix Suns, former Dallas Mavericks player.
You missed our conversation last week. We had a pretty good discussion on this.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't. So he broke down.
You should listen to the show.
He's now out for the season. So 49% of their salary, and only one of those 2 players is actually playing this season, and that's if he can stay healthy.
You're going to say that if Kobe gets 25 points, 5 boards, and a couple of assists, whatever, that's all he needs to do. If that's all he can do, that team is not going to be able to.
No. That's not what I'm saying. The Lakers are going to suck.
Yes.
Hands down.
Completely agree with that.
Your team is absolutely horrible. My Celtics will probably have more wins than your Lakers this year.
Yes.
Nope. He's a Clipper flipper. He's on the Clippers now.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. We still keep on bringing that up.
All right, let's put this to rest. Who is your team?
I don't like it. Kind of like Joe. I don't follow basketball as much, so I had to say the Lakers because it's my home team. But I don't.
Well, what about the Clippers?
I never was. Let's get this on the record. I never was a Clippers fan. I'm not a Clippers fan right now.
But you will cheer for them.
You are now, because they're winning.
If they were in the postseason,
here's why. Because you're from LA. Whoever wins is whoever you support.
Well, no, I can understand where he's coming from. Because being from New England, my favorite team is Boston College. You already know my sports teams. But if Vermont is doing something, and like if they make it to the tournament, I'm cheering for Vermont. I'm cheering for UConn. I'm cheering for UMass. Cheering for UNH, which they'll never make it to the tournament, but I'm still cheering for them. Cheering for Maine in hockey. Cheering for BC in hockey. You know? But
yeah, I mean
that's
definitely
just the area where I was.
Yeah, exactly. I've got my
teams
teams
do good.
If the Dodgers are not going to have a chance and the Angels are, I might be like, okay, well, it's even though it's the
right. We're not saying we're jumping on that bandwagon, but it's just like you're a well wisher for the Steelers. We're well wishers for the other teams in our neighborhood, except here in Arizona.
I only care about one basketball team. That's the Suns, and I very little care about them.
Really?
I'm not a basketball guy.
See,
I used to be.
I don't know if I can have you covering games then if you really don't care about them.
I used to be a big basketball
passionate
guy.
Fans.
I used to be a big basketball guy.
You used to? I
don't like this new NBA where the changes in the playoffs and you can barely touch a guy and too much of that stuff.
Well, that's happened in other sports too.
To win a championship.
Well, I just don't like you can go a whole season without playing defense, and then the playoffs come around and it's a different game. That's a problem.
Yeah, but if you don't even make the playoffs at all, it doesn't matter.
Well, but that's like the whole thing on how the Spurs win, because they play a different style of basketball than everybody else. Now they're good. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's like the Suns. They had that great offense, and they were the best in the league all season. And then the playoffs come around. Oh, well, we're playing a different game now, and your team's not prepared for it.
Yeah, but you're going back a few years.
Right. But it's the same way, though. But it's the same way.
They may call things a little bit more strict, but that's because they got the best of the best work in the playoffs. So things are going to get called that may be missed by the 2-year ref.
I disagree. It turns into a half-court game in the playoffs when it's not in the regular season.
Well, yeah, because it's all about ball control. It's all about control. Ball control in basketball is just as important as ball control in football. And then you play defense. You slow the clock down, you get your points, and then you play defense. The Suns don't do that. They don't. And we were going to bring Miss Veronica Harrison from the beginning, by the way.
I know, but we had the problem with the hangout. I'll do it now.
Okay. So until the Suns can actually bring play, because right now the players that they have with their small lineups, they're not playing defense against anybody. They're trying to outrun everybody. All right. I applaud them for bringing in Len because he is a defensive style player, but you can't play defense with one guy against, 5. You can't do it. So,
I disagree with you, though.
Well, how so?
Because I think that their best chance was to keep Gortat because he was a pure center. He's better than Len.
Do not call Gortat a pure center when he's hanging out at the 3-point line.
Len is soft.
No.
He's soft.
A pure center
and
is somebody that dominates down low, not somebody that steps behind the 3-point line.
You know who's a soft center? Channing Frye.
Frye is the same thing as Gortat. He's just about 50 pounds lighter.
Veronica's on the line.
I understand that.
Hi, Veronica.
Hi.
But I'm telling you, Gortat is not a center. He's a glorified power forward. Because true centers, true NBA centers, and there's only like a handful of them.
There's only one center.
Maybe.
Dwight Howard.
Then there's a few
others. If you want to go off that.
There's a few others.
But I think Gortat is not going to make a 3-point shot.
Really?
No, he's not.
And he shouldn't be.
That's all he shot when he was here with the Suns.
No, he didn't.
He was out between 17 and 20 feet.
That was the style that they played. His job. He's better at get some rebounds and maybe put that back.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That's what Len does. All right, and he also protects the rim.
Until you pass it too hard and his hand breaks off.
Why you keep putting it down? Why can't you just support the guy for the role that he has?
I'll support him as soon as he plays more than 10 games without getting hurt.
So he's a horrible player. So that means that Randall is.
I don't know if he's a horrible player. I haven't seen him play.
He did good last night. He was
That's one game.
They've only played 2.
He had the preseason, which he didn't play in because he broke his hand.
But he's only played 2 games this year, man. Give him some time. All right, you got to. This whole run and gun offense, where we're going to try and outrun you, is great during the regular season when you're trying to entertain your fans.
And that's my whole point. What basketball do you want? Do you want to be entertaining?
No, you want championship. That's been my issue with the Suns.
No, but if you talk to a lot of fans, playoff basketball is boring because it's a different game.
Then they don't want championships. They just want entertainment.
Right. But if you're a league, your job is to entertain. You're an entertainment entity. You're to put asses in the seats.
No, your job when you're drafted is to go win a championship. All right. No team drafts people and says, we'll win a championship in 20 years. No, we want to win right now. Because a championship will put asses in the seats.
Right. But if you want to entertain people, you got to get them to buy tickets.
I don't care about entertaining them. I don't care if the Celtics go out and average 60 points a night with their defense, but if they're defending people and they're only allowing 55 and they win a championship doing that, yeah, I'm fine. It's just like when the big 3, the real first big 3 in Boston came together, their team was not run and gun. Their team was a half-court offense and playing defense behind KG.
Right.
That wins championships.
Yeah, and how many people loved the early 2000s Pistons that scored about 60 a night?
And they still won, though, didn't they?
I'm not disputing that it wins, but I think that's the NBA's problem.
But what do you want to do? Do you want your favorite team to never win?
I want the NBA to address the problem of having 2 different games.
No. You can't tell everybody they have to have the same playbook.
I'm not saying that.
Yes, you are.
You say, refs, call it like you call it in the regular season and don't change the game.
No, what you run into is when you get to the playoffs, you run into the teams that are really good at half-court offense. Very few teams that are high-flying and score 115 a night go far at all in the playoffs, because when you get to the playoffs, then you get you stop playing teams that are all the run and gun stuff, and you start playing teams that got to where they were because they know how to play defense.
Veronica,
they run half-court.
Chime in.
Let me ask you this, Veronica. Would you rather have a team that has a good mixture of offense and defense, or would you want a team that's even though they score 106 points, they also allow 102. So that way, when you actually play a team that knows how to play defense, you still don't know how to stop the teams from getting to 102.
I'd rather have a team that plays a good mixture. That's just like you got to be able to stop somebody at some time. I mean, that's what you got to be able to do. You got to play defense. I mean, that's just natural. You got to be able to stop the other person. So you want to have a team that can play any style. You know, it's you got to be able to run when you got opportunity. You got to be able to play half court when the time calls for it. So you got to have a good mixture.
And I agree. I absolutely agree. I mean, if you look at the teams that have won championships in the past, they have a good mixture. All right. The Heat, they had that big man. They had Chris Bosh down low. They had Anderson, Birdman down there as well. They had what's his name?
I don't know if I call Bosh a big man.
Bosh is doing awesome right now. Now he has
I
more
like
shots.
Chris Anderson.
Hey, Bosh just hit he did 90% of it down low. Now, granted, he did step behind the line for a three or something, but that's not his only game.
Let's come back to this because we got a lot of other stuff right out there.
I'm having a great time with this.
Let's do the.
See, it's 2 against 1 now, so now he wants to back out.
No, I'll argue with you.
That's why. Go ahead, Veronica.
I mean, I can take it as far back as even to the 60s and the 70s when the Knicks won their 2 championships. They could run. And they played exciting game, but they could also defend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had Willis Reed. They had Clyde Frazier. They had David DeBusschere. I mean, they could defend. Even Phil Jackson, all arms. They could. Brad Holtzman had a team that could run. They could play half court, but they could defend.
Mm-hmm.
They could stop people. Like they could stop Wilt Chamberlain. They could stop Jerry West. They could defend. So you got to be able to do both.
All right.
Right, and I agree with you. It was a different game.
No, it's still the same game.
It was a different. You could play a more physical defense.
It's the same game.
They played like the Spurs. They were the Spurs before the Spurs were the Spurs.
But it was way more physical even 20 years ago.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
And that's when I liked it. I mean, when I was a kid, basketball was huge.
I always go back to when Kevin McHale clotheslined Rambis.
Right. You're never going to see
and
that
it was
again.
just a foul.
These guys like go to get in a fight and it's like a slap fight. They run away from each other.
Well, you have to run away because now you get ejected and you get fined and whatever else. So I mean the rules are the rules, but still you can't say that the Phoenix Suns don't play defense because it's a different game. They don't play defense because they bring in horrible defensive players.
I'm not saying they don't play defense. I'd say they're trying to get.
They spend $14 million a year on people that shoot threes.
Well, yeah. I mean, and you have 17 point guards. That's your other problem.
Yeah, that is.
Well, actually, you have 10, and then you have about 5 other positions.
Yeah. So, but
and I don't understand why you go and you get Bledsoe and Isaiah Thomas when you love Goran Dragic. If he's your guy, then he's your guy.
Okay, first off, you need to forget about Dragic. Okay,
but I'm not saying that he's my favorite player. I'm saying that they like him as a player. Obviously,
he's a good guy.
They had him. They traded him. They brought him back.
I actually shook his hand last year. I got to shake his hand.
He's a nice guy. I like him. I think he's a serviceable point guard. He's not great. He's not terrible. He's average.
Right.
He's maybe a little bit above average.
He was at the Grand Canyon game last year. First off, I love seeing Dan Marley as the coach for Grand Canyon University because all these players and all these celebrities now go to GCU to watch a game. As I was speaking of which, college basketball is starting up next week.
Yep.
Next week. Veronica, you told me before the show that they're already hyping up the teams up there, St. John's and same areas and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, they are. St. John's, Seton Hall, they're definitely hyping them up. They were talking about the Big East, like who was going to be number 1, who they expect to get, into the tournament and everything. The big thing with Seton Hall is the guy who came out of Lincoln High School, the same high school that had Stephon Marbury, Sebastian Telfair. Do you know Sebastian Telfair is still in the league? I mean, I was like, what? He plays for OKC, and he'll be taking over for Westbrook until, he can really get back into it now that he's hurt himself. He got injured. Yeah, his name is Whitehead, last name Whitehead. He's supposed to be really good. He's supposed to be a one and done. point guard type of thing. So, we're really going to be keeping an eye. And hopefully we can get some press credentials so I can go cover them.
Working on it.
Definitely. So, yeah, I mean, it's a big thing. Everybody's like, really, getting hyped for it up here because Seton Hall has kind of been on a downswing for a little bit. But, yeah. And, Kentucky's preseason number 1. Always going to see what Calipari is going to do. So,
they're going to lose in their first game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
I hope you're kidding.
You told me about that, so I don't know if I'll be able to see on TV, but definitely.
No, they're going to be on Watch ESPN. But let me tell you something, all right? Look, Jim, I'm putting it out there right now. Within 5 years, nobody knows the school that I'm about to say, but in 5 years, Grand Canyon University is going to be a top 25 team.
You think in 5 years?
In 5 years or less, they will be a top 25 teams. They still have 3 years of probation going into this season because they're going into their second year in Division I. All right, but I'm telling you, Darren Marley knows his stuff. Dan Marley knows his stuff, and he has been hot on the recruiting trail. And he's getting transfers, and he's going to Africa, and he's bringing back these 6'11" centers.
Is it like
Senegal.
the air up there? Is Kevin Bacon in there?
No, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. But I'm telling you, look, I'm not saying GCU is going to beat Kentucky in their first game because it's not going to happen. But
you were mentioning if they were to keep it within like 20 points,
that's 20 points.
That's going to show their big. Yeah.
Well, it's going to be big for a small school like that anyway, being on the national spotlight against the number 1 ranked team. So I'm thinking they'll probably lose 30-35, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I got tickets to all the home games. So, Veronica, if you're ever down here, I'll take you to a game.
Thank you. I mean, I'm excited for him. Like, I remember Thunder Dan Marley. I mean, he was a good player in the NBA. I expect nothing less from him as a coach. So, I mean, I'm excited for them. So, I'm looking forward to their season. I hope they do well. I really do.
Well, they're projected to finish 3rd in the WAC. They finished 3rd last year in the Western Athletic Conference. So, but the women,
they always do well.
I think they finished 2nd last year.
They would have gone to the they would have gone to the tournament if we were able to.
They would have went to the national tournament if GCU wasn't still under probation for just entering Division I. At 21-9, they would have had the record to go to the NCAA tournament. So our women are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. We got a few really, really short point guards that shoot lights out from behind the 3. Absolutely. So anyway, so that's my push on Grand Canyon. So, but it's just exciting because it's another new Division I team to cover here. We'll also be covering ASU out here. Maybe we'll get down to Tucson and cover an Arizona game or two. Kentucky and Arizona are 1-2 right now in the standings, in the preseason rankings. Okay. So who from your side of town is in the rankings? I know UConn is like 17th. Yeah, they are. They're 17th in the AP, and the coaches poll have them at 15th. How far can you see UConn going this year?
Well, they lost Napier, but they still got Boatwright.
Boatwright, yep.
So they got good guard play again. Kevin Ollie, the coach, is a good coach. So, and UConn always seems to be right in the thick of things, even though when people try to count them out. So they, in the Big East,
okay.
More than that. The Big East, I always think about the Big East, but, it's always tough here on the East Coast, like with the teams, because they always seem to just kind of beat each other up. But it makes for good competition come tournament time. So it was all pretty far. Again, injuries is always an X factor that you got to watch out for. And it seems to be academic ineligibility. Like St. John's, they've already lost a person, one of their key contributors to academic ineligibility already. He was a junior college transfer. So really, that's what you got to watch out for with basketball players. That seems to be the big thing. But other than that, I think they'll go pretty far. I don't know if they'll definitely repeat, but I think they'll get into the tournament and win a couple rounds.
Okay, all right. Well, Veronica, stay with us. We're gonna take a quick break, but when we come back, We're going to discuss whether or not LeBron James is the top icon for the city of Cleveland in all sports. So we'll be right back. We're going to go ahead and take a break. We'll be back.
Okay.
Are you or someone you know looking for a new job or career? The Vets on Media family would like to invite you to the National Career Fair in Phoenix on November 17th from 11 until 2 p.m. This free job fair will be held at the Phoenix Airport Marriott Hotel, located at 1101 North 44th Street, Phoenix. This is your chance to meet some of the top employers in the Phoenix area face-to-face. Get ready to jumpstart your new career at the National Career Fair in Phoenix, November 17th from 11 until 2 p.m. at the Phoenix Marriott Hotel, 1101 North 44th Street, Phoenix. For more information, visit ncfairs.com/Phoenix. Again, that's ncfairs.com/Phoenix.
Break it one time. How about that bandit? You got them ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. If you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in their life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strong about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
If you or someone you know is looking for a new job or career, you need to visit the pros. National Career Fairs at ncfairs.com. National Career Fairs host over 300 career fairs a year nationwide. The events are free and give you the perfect chance to meet some of the top employers in your area face-to-face. To find the nearest career fair to you, visit ncfairs.com. Again, that's ncfairs.com. What are you waiting for?
Yeah. When I was at the event in Orlando, they kept playing that song, so it just stuck in my head. So.
Well, that's not rock music.
Oh, you didn't see the rule change?
That's what I said.
I said the rule change like last week because I know Aaron played something that wasn't rock last week anyway. So, you know, he figures his dad was away that the kids would play. He didn't think I'd catch that. But, yeah, I caught it, and I was like, all right, you know what?
I knew you would.
Out of the 15 minutes you heard that you came on that.
It was like I was sitting in the seminar, and as soon as that was played, I wasn't even listening to it. I just kind of looked up, and I was like, something's not right. And I went back and checked it. I knew it. So, you know what? It's okay. We can play whatever here. We can play whatever. We're still working on the music licenses.
Whatever. But when I tried to do something, it was like, we can't play it. Okay.
Why are you going to bring up the past? Moving on. We're looking at ranking LeBron James. Where does he rank among Cleveland's greatest players of all time? I mean, granted, I think that we need to take You know. However, he didn't get any championships or anything like that until he left. So is this something that we probably need to revisit maybe at the end of this year? Or do you even need a championship to say that you're one of the greatest ever? I think that's a fair question.
So I don't think so, because I think if you want to, I think you can look at the impact that the athlete has had, not just in terms of like the sports, but also on the community as a whole. And the fact that he's from Akron, he has played for them, and what he's elevated the franchise, even though he left and he's come back. And I don't know, did you see the latest Nike commercial?
Yeah, I did.
Done with him?
Yeah, where they're all in.
Like, they're all in like on 3 teamwork and like 4x6 hard work, teamwork or something.
Yeah.
That's really great. So the impact that he has on the community as far as sort of like bringing it together, and if you look deeper into why he came back, is how he really wanted to help the community. And if you also look deeper into that he has on young kids, young people, it's not just they want to be him for the money and the fame that he has. But I was reading an article on Sports Illustrated, not this past one, but the one before that talked about homeless kids, homeless student athletes. A lot of them look up to him, not because they want to get famous to have his money and have his fame, but they identify with him because of his situation growing up, not having a stable home, sometimes he would be considered homeless.
Right.
Based on the income level and stuff like that by the Department of Education. So they can identify with him.
Okay.
And they look up to him for that. So the impact that he has that way, I think he is one of Cleveland's.
Okay. Well, he's definitely one of the best. But I'm going to throw out some names there. And a lot of these names are probably not really well known amongst the same people that follow LeBron today, because he's definitely got a deep following from the youth, in Cleveland. But if I was to walk up to the youth of Cleveland and I started throwing out names like Otto Graham or even Bernie Kosar,
Jim Brown,
they would put LeBron ahead of them in a heartbeat, because they can't picture Jim Brown on the football field. They can't picture Otto Graham on the football field. They can't even picture like Ozzie Newsome, So,
well, Ozzie Newsome is a Raven now, so
I know, but still.
But that's like for Ohio, that's a stab in the back.
Yeah, well, yeah,
because that was the Browns, and then they went to Baltimore.
All right, and then I brought up just a second ago to Joel as like Tris Speaker. Joel, can you elaborate on this one?
Tris Speaker, he was, I believe, in the late 1890s, maybe early 1900s. He was one of the best players in the league at that time. I mean, he was a hitter. I mean, he didn't really hit for a whole lot of pop, for a whole lot of homers. He would hit mostly in the gaps, hit a lot of doubles, hit a lot of triples. He had some speed. He was just a pure hitter,
like a Jeter.
Very similar, yeah. I mean, Jeter like in his prime, but Speaker kept it going throughout his entire career.
Okay, so
he played over 20 years.
Bob Feller is more of an Indians legend.
I would say Jim Thome.
Jim Thome too, but he played for a lot of teams. He played for the Phillies,
but he spent 12 years in Cleveland.
They did say Jim Thome. They also said Manny Ramirez.
I don't think.
I think his legacy is mostly with the Red Sox.
Yeah, well, that's just because that's where he won. But I mean, with Lofton and Ramirez and Bell and Thome, that was one hell of a team.
Yep.
That was a great team.
Made it to the series and lost to the Marlins on a walk-off hit.
The problem is they don't have Kenny Lofton as a coach somewhere. So when they do, they make the playoffs.
That's true.
So they need to hire him to be a base running coach or something.
Somewhere. Put him in there somewhere. You know what? Come on out here, Kenny.
But also, too, there might be something to do with some of these other players that we're talking about didn't have the means of as much news and social media and everything to be constantly being talked about.
Right.
Because I mean, right now you have LeBron. Even when he was there, they had pictures of him on the sides of buildings and everything. You know, and 30, 40 years ago, that wasn't like the norm to have like your big city icon, put him up on a wall. That wasn't even thought of at the time. So I do think time has a little issue or a little difference with some of these names.
All right. So would you put LeBron James in front of, I'm just going to call the obvious one on the list, Jim Brown?
Yes.
You would put LeBron James in front of Jim Brown right now?
Absolutely.
No. Okay, well, let's go on this. Veronica, what do you say real quick?
I would have to say, see, I know history, so no.
Okay. All right. So, Joel, explain why not. Why isn't LeBron James ahead of Jim Brown?
Well, because I mean, LeBron James obviously played with Cleveland before, then turned his back on Cleveland, then all of a sudden decided, I'm going to come home in a warm, touchy feeling. You know, I mean, he turned his back on.
But Cleveland. Can you give him props for coming back?
Yeah, like having a change of heart. Yeah, but Jim Brown, I mean, he was the best Brown that they had. I mean, and he was just phenomenal.
I mean, even today, if you tell me to tell me who the best Brown is of all time, I'm going to tell you it's Jim Brown.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no doubt. I mean, you might even think about like maybe Paul Warfield, but no, Jim Brown's ahead of him.
Well, you even heard LeBron even say when he came back, he's like, I forgot how much I missed the city, or how much you had to go away to figure out how much you missed home.
Well, you know what?
Exactly.
Sometimes you got to do that, but then you got to look at it from this point of view. All right, in a day and age where every player still has that passion to get that ring, knowing, and there's no way you can argue against the fact that if he would have stayed in Cleveland, there wasn't anybody out there that was going to come and join him in Cleveland. There just wasn't. Not so he can get his championships. All right. Even the team that they have now, I'm not sure can win a championship. I don't know.
But then it's like you're basing how good he is on the fact that no one wanted to come and play with him.
Right.
Well, no, I think it was more the city of Cleveland. I think because when you talk about picking up your family, it's not just wearing a uniform and going to work every day. You're moving your entire family and saying, this is where my career's at. You know, I got love for everybody out there, but I'm not moving to Cleveland. I'm sorry. I will stay, and I'm talking about this coming from the desert. You know, I'm fine living here with being, a few short hours from some of the biggest drug and weapon trade in the country or in the world.
Can we talk about the worst cities? I mean, obviously Detroit, then Philadelphia.
Well, you know what they need to do with Detroit. Look,
they're right there at the bottom, but I think for him being number one, I mean, Jim Brown he's a great player, and he's probably the best Brown. Him and Otto Graham are right there. And then, of course, right behind him is Braylon Edwards, because he's great.
What?
But wait, I'm just kidding.
I just said right. I'm like, what? Wait a minute, back up. But look at it this way.
No, but Jim Brown says a lot of stupid things.
He's old.
I think, and that's the other thing is as he gets older, people today don't think about Jim Brown in Cleveland.
Yeah.
They think about Jim Brown in those terrible 80s action movies.
You actually have to look at the body of work that they had when they were in their respective sport. And if you think about it, the city of Cleveland, the city of Detroit, the cities that we look at now as being bad were booming 40 years ago.
But just look at what happened right now. And Cleveland is coming back as a city. But you asked Veronica, she doesn't know about Jim Brown.
Right. I mean, she knows of him, but she doesn't know the sports history.
So, I mean, if you ask most people nowadays, they probably know who LeBron James is.
Right. So what we need to do is take our knowledge on the history of the sport, and we need to look at this, objectively, to where we can actually sit back and say, okay, I can see their point, but you also got to look at this. You know what I'm saying? So I've got Jim Brown as my number one. I've got LeBron as my number two. All right. And another reason for that, and Joel, you brought this up, Jim Brown played in Cleveland. That's all he played. Was in Cleveland.
But he didn't play a long time either. Don't forget that.
Yeah, but he played during a time where, I mean, you got guys that would play with missing fingers and broken bones, and I mean,
he retired early though.
He played with butt kiss, man.
Yep.
I mean, you got these guys out there just closing. It wasn't turn your head to tackle. It was turn your head because you got a flying clothesline coming at you. That's back in the day. That's where he played. That's why people didn't play that long. And the ones that did were usually
but
like
he could have played. He just hung him up.
Well, when you're at the top of your game.
Yeah, but he won NFL championship, I believe, not
AFL championship.
Not an NFL championship,
Yeah,
not a Super Bowl.
Right. But I mean,
pre-Super Bowl. But that's the last championship in the city. I mean, it is.
Well, what about the Indians?
Nope.
When was their last one?
The Indians won
48.
Was it 48?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been quite a while. But I mean, just kind of on those things. I mean, I think Aaron, you said Bob Feller.
I mean,
No, that actually is a good example because he left and came back to the Indians.
Yeah, Bob Feller. Yep.
From 36 to 41, he was an Indian and then left, and then kind of like LeBron, came back almost 4 years later, and then pitched another from 45 to 56. So he left and came back and was received well as well.
So I mean, I can't get mad at the guy for wanting to go get his ring, but then he got it, and now he's back.
Yeah, but look, he brought a guy now. He brought love.
I mean, it's right now,
and he's going to bring your boy Ray Allen around Christmas.
I'm really not concerned about Ray.
See, I still think it's.
First, I hope that the city of Cleveland gets a championship because I already know my Celtics are out. I still cheer for my Celtics. I already know they're out. It's 2 games in, they're out. They're done. But I mean, that's the feel-good story. But if you look at it, that's probably not going to happen unless some of their other players, like Thompson, last night was a beast. He got something like 10 offensive rebounds. He was all over the boards. They couldn't stop him for nothing.
And I'm not surprised they haven't won both their games. It's going to take time.
No. And when you look back at it, everybody was like, oh, he already lost his first game. Yeah, but when he got with the big 3 down in Miami,
did the same thing.
Yeah, they lost like their first 3 games. So, and then they didn't win a championship their first year.
No, it takes time.
Yeah.
I think come the end of the year, they'll be in it.
They'll be in it, but I don't think they'll win a championship this year. I don't think they'll win a championship this year. I know one person that's definitely not winning a championship this year. He goes by the name of Kobe Bryant.
It's Kobe Bean Bryant.
Is this your time now?
It's his middle name.
So Kobe's definitely not going to win a championship. But if you look at it, I mean, the true contenders out of the East, I like how the Bulls look right now. As long as they're healthy, I like how the Bulls look. I still am not buying into the Knicks. I know Carmelo went out and did the thing, and Derek Fisher's a new coach, but it's still the same team. Actually, they lost a couple players, and they didn't bring in anybody because they just paid Carmelo like $140-something million. And I appreciate that, Carmelo. I'm a hometown guy, but you just guaranteed never to win a championship.
Don't forget about Amari.
Yeah, Amari. Amari's a good 10 and maybe 8 guy a night. That's all he is. He was a 32 plus. Checks. Well, you know what?
I wonder if he picks up his checks with a ski mask and a gun. Because he's been robbing the Knicks for years.
Really?
Really.
That was horrible. That was absolutely horrible. And that's coming from a Suns fan. And I'm sure there's a little bit of hater report on that as well.
I was glad they didn't sign him because then they would have been in the same thing.
You just wanted them to have Gortat instead.
Yes.
And look what he did. He left too.
Yeah, and look, you're using him as a center, and he's doing just fine in Washington.
Right, but they're using him as a true center and not a step back. And
I'm not disagreeing with you. I think you should have the guy stand under the basket.
So back to the list. Top 5 for me in Cleveland. I've got Jim Brown at 1.
I agree with that.
LeBron at 2. Mark Price at 3. Otto Graham at 4. And Omar Vizquel at 5, perhaps one of the greatest infielders of all time.
Omar Vizquel, I think, could be there.
No, he's definitely there.
I would have LeBron, Jim Brown, Kosar, Bob Feller.
Did you just put Bernie Kosar in there?
I did.
Mute yourself.
He's loved in that city.
That's great.
And we're talking about people who love him in Cleveland, and people
I'm talking about where they would fit all time.
And my number 5 for me is Kenny Lofton, but I don't think a lot of people would have that.
Lofton was I'd probably put Lofton behind Tomey.
But if we're talking about them, like the famous names being liked by the city has a huge thing to do with that. So that's why you can put Bernie Kosar in the conversation. I agree with you that Jim Brown's
top 10.
I put Jim Brown number 1. I would probably for me. I put LeBron 3.
Okay, now Veronica, where would you put LeBron?
I'd put LeBron. I'd put him 2, but no, I'd put him 3 behind. I go Jim Brown, Ozzie Newsome, then LeBron James, and then I would go Kenny Lofton, and then Vizquel would be 5. And Jim Brown, I know a lot about Jim Brown, graduated from Syracuse, and while he was there, not only did he play football, but he also was very good at lacrosse. I won a championship with them in lacrosse. So
wow, I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Did not know that.
I don't know why people assume I don't know about my history. I am very well versed.
Well, you're a girl. That's just standard. So that's why we.
I think you're crazy for putting Newsome on there, because I think people in that city hate him for being a Ravens GM.
No,
because they still hate the Ravens because they left.
I know that, but when you were a player, I mean, come on.
Yeah, but
I mean, that's
Raven.
just like saying that people in Indy hate Peyton Manning.
But he wasn't a part of that.
But I'm just saying. I mean, just because you leave and go someplace else, it doesn't matter where you go.
No, but he went with the team that said, hey, we're going to pack up and leave Cleveland in the middle of the night and go over to Baltimore.
Dude, that was forever ago.
Not realistically, but they did pack up and basically desert the city. They had to bring him back as an expansion team.
Yeah, but that was forever ago, man.
It was 96. That was less than 20 years ago.
Almost 20 years ago. You realize that after 20 years, a car is considered a classic? Let the shit go.
25.
It's 20 here in Arizona. So yeah, I mean that's good. Although I'm surprised that everybody's pretty much leaving off Mark Price, which is pretty much one of the.
The only reason I leave Mark Price off is he doesn't really do a lot there. I don't think he lives there. I don't think he comes back to the city.
As a player,
no, as a city, he's great, and his numbers retired for the Cavs.
Right.
And I don't think Brad Daugherty either, because Brad Daugherty played elsewhere and he had a short career.
Brad Daugherty,
and he owns NASCAR teams now. So
he's smart. He's one of the few former players that too. Well, that too. And I mean, because you see it all the time when players get out, they're broke,
right?
Because they don't do anything with their money.
But I think that's why LeBron's there, is because he still cares about that community, and that was one. of his things
I agree with that.
And one of his things for coming back is when he said he asked his kids, and his kids said, "Oh, we can go back to our old school with our old friends." That's why he came back.
Yeah.
So that's why I have him number 1.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So what we got coming up here? Actually, yeah, we need to go on a break, don't we? We were supposed to start on World Series wrap here about 10 minutes ago. So, well, let's do this real quick. Let's jump into the World Series real quick. I don't know if you guys know this, but I was right about the Giants. Just throwing that out there. And I think that Kansas City's in a good spot moving forward.
Absolutely.
I think that all of their players, I don't think this is going to be one of those teams where you see just get picked apart by free agency. I think they'll be able to retain most of their core players.
Well, they're so young. I mean, they're still under contract for the next 6 years.
Do you think Shields will resign?
Yeah, I do. I think he will, because he knows the talent of the young talent, and I think he'll sign because I think it's his best chance to get a ring.
I think he got a bad rap. The dude had kidney stones.
Yeah.
I mean, don't take him down for what he did in game 1. The dude was pissing out rocks a week ago or 3 days before that game.
Look, well, I mean, Kurt Schilling just had surgery on his ankle. Okay.
Don't even get me started
the night before.
I mean, I wonder if they had a great Hollywood makeup connection.
Really?
Just came out, painted a little bit of that stuff.
And when he took his sock off and it was still bleeding, that's just paint that wasn't dry.
Paint, maybe a little ketchup.
Put the ketchup back in there. Come on. You hate everybody that leaves Arizona and goes on to success.
I just don't like Schilling. He's like a mom.
I haven't mentioned anybody yet that's left Arizona that you said you did like.
I like Randy Johnson.
Yeah, but he didn't go anywhere after he left here. He retired here.
No, he went to
Giants.
Giants.
Oh, that's right. He did for a minute.
And you missed our conversation last week. I would consider him a Mariner.
No, I'd retire his number here.
Yeah.
Well, we need to retire it, but if he's going in the Hall of Fame, I'd put him in as a Mariner.
First off, if you've never tried to take down the big unit,
watch your mouth. It's a family show.
Oh no, over at Alice Cooperstown. It's
that huge hot dog.
It's like 2 foot long. The hot dog itself is 3 pounds. And then they add every topping you can put onto a hot dog, which is why I haven't tried it because I don't like any of the toppings. And then they give you a trough of fries to go with it. And every year we do a competition where Adam Bird and James Fawbush fail to beat whoever the special guest is that competes against them. Adam Bird and James Fawbush, the founders of Vets on Media, by the way, for those you tuning in. And I've got that on video too. And then last year they invited this old guy from the audience. And it turns out he was a professional eater. And he absolutely destroyed them.
I heard Darren Ravel reported of ESPN said the D-backs made a bunch of money with those $25 hot dogs this year.
Yeah.
They made a ton of money off that.
Yeah, those things are huge. Huge. I just eat the ones that they give us in the press box, and they're not those, but they're good.
They are good.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. All right. Good. That's right. You haven't been to a game yet.
No.
Well, you got to learn more about baseball.
I don't like basketball, and I've been talking to you about it all show.
I'll get you out to a basketball game too, but I actually have a meeting with the Phoenix Suns this coming week. So
Hornets.
So yeah, we'll look into it, see what happens. But let's go ahead and
Veronica, what was your thoughts on the World Series?
I thought it was great, but I thought it was really interesting. Bumgarner, do you know for the wedding gift for his wife, he gave her a cow.
I'm sorry, what?
He gave his wife a cow.
Yes, he
don't have a cow. I'll buy you one.
He grew up out in North Carolina, out in the boonies, like out in the Appalachian region. He grew up in a log cabin that his father built. I mean, they're like out there. And for a wedding present to his wife, he gave her a cow. No lie. Look it up.
Is that like a dowry? Like a dowry? You know, when you married back in the olden days?
Not a dowry, like as a gift. Or for her wedding present, he gave her a cow.
Well, I know he has a truck with technology and stuff.
But he gave his wife a cow.
That's beautiful.
Why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free?
But I'm just saying, like, you find the coolest characters in baseball, and I was just like, how cool is that? Awesome.
Outstanding. Which, by the way, just a reminder, we're going to be live on Friday doing our, well, some of us will be, others will be at their JOB. We will be broadcasting live from the Diamondbacks Charity Golf Tournament, which coming up in about 10 minutes, Debbie Castaldo will be calling in from the Arizona Diamondbacks, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. So let's go ahead. Veronica, we're going to let you go, but we're going to bring you on a little bit later on.
Okie dokie.
All right, thanks a lot. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take a break, and then when we come back, we'll hopefully have Ms. Debbie Castaldo calling in from the Diamondbacks. So,
are you or someone you know looking for a new job or career? The Vets on Media family would like to invite you to the National Career Fair in Phoenix on November 17th from 11 until 2 p.m. This free job fair will be held at the Phoenix Airport Marriott Hotel, located at 1101. Are you or someone you know looking for a new job or career? The Vets on Media family would like to invite you to the National Career Fair in Phoenix on November 17th from 11 until 2 p.m. This free job fair will be held at the Phoenix Airport Marriott Hotel, located at 1101 North 44th Street, Phoenix. This is your chance to meet some of the top employers in the Phoenix area face-to-face. Get ready to jumpstart your new career at the National Career Fair in Phoenix, November 17th from 11 until 2 p.m. at the Phoenix Marriott Hotel, 1101 North 44th Street, Phoenix. For more information, visit ncfairs.com/Phoenix. Again, that's ncfairs.com/Phoenix.
Breaker 19. How about that bandit? You got them ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in your life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strong about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
If you or someone you know is looking for a new job or career, you need to visit the pros. National Career Fairs at ncfairs.com. National Career Fairs hosts over 300 career fairs a year nationwide. The events are free and give you the perfect chance to meet some of the top employers in your area face-to-face. To find the nearest career fair to you, visit ncfairs.com. Again, that's ncfairs.com. What are you waiting for?
All right, so joining us shortly will be Debbie Castaldo, who is the VP of Community Affairs for the Arizona Diamondbacks. There is a tournament next week out at Wild Horse Pass Casino, but they are completely booked, sold out, which should make for a great tournament, because I hate putting together tournaments and then be short people, but they are completely booked. They've got all the teams that they need. They've got just a wealth of different, prizes and things like that. I'm looking over these lists. They've obviously they've got Budweiser tasting stations, which is important at like the first and the ninth hole. Very important. Zips tasting stations, but then they're giving away men's and women's bicycles for the longest drive for men and women. A few chances to get a hole-in-one to win a Ford Edge, a Ford F-150, a Ford Explorer, Ford Fusion, T-Bags duffel bags, you name it. I mean, they're giving away just a lot of stuff out there. And gift cards, Apple gift cards, Westcor gift cards, Chase Field VIP experience. I mean, it looks exciting. Last year, they raised $228,000, over $228,000 for one day of golfing, and that is absolutely phenomenal.
That's great.
So pretty cool. So Debbie will be calling in here probably within the next 5 minutes. Now, one thing that I want to talk about real quick, and we can revisit this after Debbie finishes up. But what's one of the things that you took, not just from the World Series, I'm asking my baseball guys, but just from the Major League playoffs this past season that you're looking forward to see more of next year?
Well, with some of these young teams, I mean, they're going to be good. I mean, you have the Royals, obviously. You know, I mean, their talent's locked up for years, and we're starting to see a balance. We're starting to see a shift of power as far as going from teams that have a huge payroll to teams that have young players. The Pirates have been in there for the last 2 years. They're young. A lot of the Cardinals players are young. The Giants players, they have some youth, like Joe Panic, for example. I mean, they are going to be losing some free agents probably. Like Sandoval's probably going to be gone.
Yeah,
Hudson's probably retired.
Where do you think Sandoval's going to end up?
I wouldn't surprise to see him in either Milwaukee is an option because I think Aramis Ramirez is going to retire.
He's got some age on him, yeah.
And injuries. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in an AL team either. They may lock him up long term. The Red Sox. Because also, if they have to sign him to big years, which is probably what's going to happen, you're going to have him as a DH.
But with Sandoval, they've been saying that they wanted him to stay. He wants to stay a San Francisco Giant, but they're going to have to pay him the $100 million contract.
Yeah. And they already have enough.
Do you think he's worth it?
No,
I don't. Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's. Just the way you don't think Cutler's a $100 million quarterback, I don't think Sandoval is worth $100 million.
Sandoval is going to break down in a few years. I mean, we're already starting to see he has a body type like Prince Fielder, and Prince Fielder's breaking down. You know, these heavier set guys, and weight's been an issue for him. He'll come to camp, he'll have cut 20, 30 pounds. Then as the season progresses, he'll gain it all back. So we saw the same thing with Fielder. And he was out for the year after 2 weeks.
But Ortiz has been able to. Well, he slimmed down. He has slimmed down.
Ortiz has slimmed down, and he's actually kept himself. He hasn't fluctuated as much.
38.
38, yeah.
He's still hitting 30 home runs.
Yep.
He's crazy. So I'd keep him in. I'd definitely keep Ortiz until he can't hit 20 anymore.
Yeah.
And let him go.
Wouldn't surprise me to see the Orioles make a run for Sandoval either.
Yeah. Yeah, another bat is definitely would be needed in Baltimore. Brent, what's your take on that?
About him being in Baltimore?
Yeah.
Me personally, I don't see that deal going down. But with some of these other players, and Sandoval knows he's towards the end of his career. So I mean, him going to a team that is filled with youth and trying to build a team around him, I don't see that being an option. More so as he needs to be a person that can go join an already established team,
right? And
try and not try and be the spotlight, but just be a key contributor. So that's why I kind of think I do see the option for him going to Boston. And Joe mentioned it. I think his next run is going to be an AL team because he knows he's getting up there. And again, JD, you and I have this conversation about the DH, but I think that's his next role because then he can play half the season in the field.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then,
very similar to what Pujols did with Anaheim.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And what's even weirder is with this postseason, the AL didn't seem to be the better lineup with the DH.
Right.
It was the Giants who had it. When the Giants did have the DH, they put Morse there, who's a beast.
Yep.
And he actually had a great series. He didn't have the power numbers, but he did have the key. He had a higher batting average than anyone expected.
Right.
But I do think the AL is the next play.
And so think about how much better the Giants would be if they could have that DH all season.
Look how much better the Dodgers could be with, we're having a hard time filling up that outfield.
That's my argument right there.
No,
how much
absolutely.
better an offense could be.
But again, we can go on a whole different tangent on that. But this year the NL team had the NL team had the better lineup without the DH.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's because you had the American League teams had to conform. And it's hard to do that when you're taking a guy that bats, 270, 280, and 30 home runs, and you got to tell him he's got to go sit down.
He won't even hit 20 home runs. He's not a 20 home run hitter. The only way where he would be in Yankee Stadium.
What about
Boston?
They got
Boston.
Small.
But with him being a switch hitter, yeah. If he were on Boston, he could just sit there and just pitch him out left field.
You know, I mean, if he goes, I don't even think he'd be able to hit one out of Baltimore because of the wall. He's more of a line drive hitter. He doesn't really hit a whole lot of them out of the wall over the fence. Yeah, and I think, like I was saying, AL team all the way. You know, I mean, there are some teams out there with the bigger payrolls. You know, teams like Boston, teams like New York, you know, Baltimore, Toronto's getting up there, but Toronto's already established third baseman Brett Lawrie. So, you know, we're looking at it. I'm pretty sure he's going to go to AL.
Well, one thing that I think that might be interesting to see next year is for like the World Series. I still think we'll see Detroit in the playoffs. Very similar to what Bogey did with Bumgarner. I think because I thought it was really. I mean, he has pitch relief before, and I thought it was a great call having Bumgarner come in as your reliever.
Right.
But I think next year we may see some other things like that. Because I mean, I personally think if Detroit gets there again, they're going to have to put Verlander in the bullpen, and you might see some different managerial styles with the pitchers that they have.
My issue with Detroit, Scherzer's going to be a free agent. You
think he'll stay?
No, I think he's gone.
Really?
Yeah.
With everything he's done there, I mean, and he basically took over the face of that team in terms of the pitchers.
Well, Detroit already offered him the most amount that they could afford him, and he turned it down at the beginning of last season.
But see, he still has a chance to look at what everyone. I mean, he can still take that after he sees what everyone else offers, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, he'll be a type A free agent. Whoever signs him is going to be tied to draft pick. They're going to forfeit their draft pick to the Tigers, and so that leaves you basically with Price and Verlander.
What about Hanley Ramirez? Where's he going?
I think he's staying.
Yeah,
I don't. I think he's going to the AL too, because he's not good on defense.
But he wants to go where he'll be able to play the field. He's one of these guys that he wants to play the field, and he deserves it. He's a great shortstop.
Now, he's also fallen victim to the injury bug the last 3 seasons. And that's going to be something. But I think also that he knows people are already talking about the Dodgers being a contender for next year's World Series, and we haven't gotten to spring training yet.
Right.
But I think he knows what kind of power is in that lineup. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. But if he did, if he were to go, I still think that kind of like what Joel's saying, he's not going to want to split time with anybody.
Right.
He's not going to go to a team that's already got a halfway decent infield and been like, well, between second base, third, and short, you need to figure out a way to get in the lineup. He wants to be able to sit there and play 162 games.
The Dodgers have that Rojas kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a great defender, better than Hanley, but he can't hit.
He can't hit.
So that's why I think he's probably going to stay, because the Dodgers want someone that's going to hit.
Well, the other person
they can put D. Gordon there.
Well, Gordon proved that when he's playing shortstop, he does not. He is a second baseman.
He's a second baseman,
and he played shortstop the year before. Didn't do anything. Plays second base this year and gets himself on the All-Star team.
Yep.
And because he doesn't have the best arm. He's fast, but he's quick in the second hole to be able to fill that spot. Rebencia, the other person, is not a threat to take over Hanley's position. So I think he does stay.
Hanley looked nice in a Yankees uniform.
You know what would look nice is if the D-backs brought some of these players in.
Yeah.
That looked nice. I think they got the cap room.
They do.
Well, no, they definitely do. They definitely have the room.
I mean, could you imagine Scherzer being the new ace for the Arizona Diamondbacks?
They had Scherzer.
They traded him.
People come back home all the time, LeBron. Come on back, man.
I know the D-backs have cap room, but I don't know if they'd be able to afford that contract.
Yeah,
he's going to demand a lot of money.
If they can get 1 or 2 more back, because they got a lot of young bats in the lineup with Trumbo and Peralta and Goldschmidt.
Goldschmidt, he's
going to be if they can get another big bat to go with Goldschmidt, I think Trumbull did a great job.
He struggled early. Yeah, he struggled early, and I was really impressed.
I think he put out 2. He put 2 home runs out the game, man. You covered.
Yep, 2.
Yeah, he launched 2, and they were all to the power alley.
They were bombs.
And actually, the game I covered, he went. I think he went 3 for 5.
Yeah,
and was hitting, and he actually hit center field, and he actually looked like the Trumbo from the Angels.
Yeah, so
he was swinging with an attitude.
They can bring in one more bat and stay healthy. That lineup could be good, but it's going to be interesting.
Be a good fit for Sandoval.
Yeah, that's true, and it's going to be interesting to see what the new coach does.
Chip Hale.
Yeah. Now, as we wait for our caller, Joel, one thing I kind of wanted to touch on last week that we really didn't get to is we'll talk until we have that caller. The article that you wrote about what's coming up and what some teams are maybe making some noise. I know you mentioned the Astros, and everyone always thinks the Astros are the losing team. But what are you seeing that's coming up that maybe we should be looking out for next year?
Well, for next year, I think you're going to be looking. I mean, if the Cubs hire Madden, I think they're going to be more of a force. I don't think that they're going to be in it because they don't have pitching, but I think they're going to be a team that's going to be tough. Yeah, one I can actually see making noise like the Royals did is Minnesota. I think the Twins are.
You said they had a couple good. They have the number one prospect.
The number one overall prospect. He's going to be out though. He will probably miss the first month of the season. He played in Arizona Fall League and broke his hand or something. But he's a great fielder. They have this Oswaldo Arcia guy. Came out of nowhere, and the dude's like Jose Abreu. I mean,
really?
Yeah, he hits the ball, and he hits the ball hard.
Now they signed Molitor as their coach.
Yeah,
I think that was either yesterday. Paul Molitor is the new
his new Twins coach, and I really think that he's going to have what it takes to turn the franchise around. They have a great probably number 2 starter in Kyle Gibson. That I think he's going to be really good. He pitched to a low 3 or a high 3 ERA, and that's just going to get better. He doesn't strike out a lot. He's more like a Tim Hudson type pitcher. Doesn't strike out a lot, but gets a lot of ground balls. And I mean, they're young. They added a few veterans. They will add just a few slight veterans, and to go along with Mauer in that lineup. And I really think that they're going to be a team to watch out for. I think in a couple years you need to look out for Houston. I think in 2 years' time it's going to be Houston.
Now, is that so much from pitchers coming up, or they have some good people in their farm program that's going to be filling some holes?
Amazing people in their farm program. Yeah, they drafted Mark Appel, the guy from Stanford, who was probably considered the number 1 team, the number 1 prospect in college.
In college, I heard about him
at that time. Carlos Correa, who's a great shortstop, hits the ball and high average. And then you already got guys. You've seen Springer come up, going to start hitting bombs. You've seen Jonathan Singleton that they got in the Hunter Pence deal when they traded him to Philadelphia. They traded away some of their players, and they got a bunch of good prospects in return. And now they're going to start seeing the fruits of the labor.
Well, I
think they're going to. I don't think they're going to be in last next year. Nope. I think Texas will be in last.
Well,
Texas was in last this year.
I think Houston was below them.
Nope.
Never mind.
67 wins to 70 wins.
Forget I said anything.
But with Altuve, with the season he had, you put some people in that lineup with
Altuve,
him.
Great leadoff.
Let people move him around.
Altuve, great leadoff. Correa, number 2 hole. Springer, number 3. Singleton, number 4. And then Matt Dominguez, who hits the ball, who's their third baseman, who hits the ball hard and he can hit it out. He can be a great number 5. So mark it down. I was right about the Royals this year.
Very good. Very good. You have 1, I have 1. Speaking of which.
I did say the Giants, but I said it was going to be in 6, not 7. But
I'm looking at, obviously, I'm a Red Sox fan. I don't know if you guys know this.
Really?
But Castillo looked really good when he came up.
Yeah.
He did. He looked really good. The thing about him, though, is his swing. It doesn't even look like he has any effort to it. And he's launching bombs over the Green Monster. I was like, really?
Yep. And a lot of players are like that, just smooth swings. You have some obviously violent swings. Adrian Beltre, Yoenis Cespedes come to mind, but those smooth swings, I mean,
his swing reminds me, as a Red Sox fan, he reminds me kind of like a Troy O'Leary.
Yeah.
It's very smooth. It just makes
he's like a right-handed Ken Griffey Jr.
Very nice. Very nice. I like that one. Sox got a lot of youth.
Yeah.
Sox got a lot of youth. They actually have a pretty good mix of youth and veteran on the team.
I think if they sign Lester again, because Lester's a free agent.
Well, they're working on that. Ben Cherington just announced that they are in talks. So I always like Johnny Lester. I do. And I'm hoping they can come back. But I think we got to work on our offense last year because even with Lester starting, I mean, their offense was just.
I think their offense is going to be fine. I think it's a pitching that they need to worry about because I don't think Buchholz is what they originally hoped when they got him or when they drafted him.
They just re-signed Uehara.
He didn't have as good as a year. I think he'll be the closer, and he's a good one, but he wasn't as dominant as he was in 2013.
Yeah, they just re-signed him for another couple of years. So it should be interesting. And then
I think the White Sox also are going to be good.
Yeah. I'm not much of a White Sox fan. I know Ivan is. But I am not, because what was it, 2005? The White Sox went to the World Series and lost?
Yep. No, they won.
No, they won it.
They won. Okay.
They beat Houston.
Over Houston, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Houston. Okay, so let's do this. What is, I mean, the Royals were the feel-good story this year.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to be the feel-good story for next year?
Miami.
Really?
Yep.
You agree with that, Brent?
I don't disagree with it. I'm thinking about they made again.
Are they going to keep Stanton?
Yeah, I think that they will keep him one more year. I mean, even if they don't, they're going to get major league talent in return. You're going to get a right fielder. You're going to get a starting pitcher. There was talks before Tavares died that the Cardinals could trade Tavares, Shelby Miller, and Carlos Martinez, all major league, very good young players, for Giancarlo Stanton. And they already have those holes already, and that would be a good trade for both teams. But obviously, when Tavares died, that kind of put a kink in that plan.
Yeah,
but,
right. That's a sad story, too.
It really is. I'm writing my next article about that. And but anyway, kind of going back, they already got Christian Yelich is their left fielder, an amazing left fielder, hits the ball, great leadoff hitter, and who has a lot of pop. Could probably hit 15 home runs in that park. Giancarlo Stanton will probably still be with the team. Their pitching staff is loaded. Every single one of their pitchers throws 95 or higher.
And that's amazing. And now they could all be Wild Thing Vaughn, but they have to control it. How's their control, though?
Yeah, it was spotty, but that's the way young players are.
Need some glasses.
That's the way.
Well, you can always be effectively wild.
Yeah,
there is that to say as well.
Yeah,
but that's just part of growing up in the majors. You're going to be wild at times. Henderson Alvarez already has a no hitter to his name. He no hit the Tigers 2 years ago.
Yep.
Right. That was the Tigers too. Yeah. Nathan Eovaldi is another guy to watch out for. Watch out for his name. I think the Marlins are actually going to make some noise. I think that they will be a playoff team next year.
Wow, that's big.
I think you're crazy.
They will either
because it's going to be the Cubs.
They no. I think they're going to be a wild card team. I think they're going to be playing in that wild card game.
That's going to be a.
I would like to see that. I really would. This was like the first season that they weren't dead last and by a huge margin.
Because the Nationals will win that division. The Nationals will win that division again.
They can play in that wild card game all they want because the Cubs are going to win the series.
No, they're not.
Wow.
You got to have pitching. They don't have pitching.
I just go back to that commercial.
They strike out way too much. Yeah. Way too much.
Yeah. What about
in Rizzo we trust?
You can trust him for about 180 strikeouts.
Is Tampa Bay without Madden, are they going to be the worst team in the AL East?
Yes.
Regardless of who they bring in?
Yes.
That's big considering the fact that the Sox were 6 games behind them last year.
Well, they just traded off their best
Sox
player.
have talent.
Yeah.
They kind of gave up when they did the Cespedes deal.
Yeah.
But this is one of the worst years that Tampa Bay had in the last 5 because for the most part they were pretty productive in that division. This was the first year that they really kind of fell off.
When they traded away their best player in Price, they got one young shortstop who's probably going to be in the majors because they really have no one else. Their offenses will not be good. They'll have Ben Zobrist and Will Myers. That's about it.
What about Longoria?
Longoria will be in there, but he's probably guaranteed to be hurt about 60 games, like he almost always
is. Yeah.
What's chances the D-backs pull a worst to first in the NL West?
Not very likely.
I don't see it happening next year.
0.
They started out pretty good.
They did start out good. I think they're a second place team.
Okay.
Well, we all know the Giants won't be in it because that's their pattern, right, Joel? Correct. They'll win about 70 games.
Yeah, if that.
Really?
Yeah.
And then if the Dodgers can figure out their outfield, they're going to win it easy.
It won't surprise me to see the D-backs and Marlins in the playoff game.
Holy, what?
That's a bold prediction.
That's a little. I could use some other words. Wow, the D-backs and the Marlins in the playoff game. That is interesting. And who's hosting that game?
The Marlins.
And they'll have a record attendance about 10-5.
Oh, wow, a record attendance. You go back to the trade that Miami did with Toronto a couple years ago, and you're thinking, what if they never did that trade and they still picked up Stanton? I mean, they probably could have been a playoff team this year.
Yeah. They probably would be a playoff team this year. They would have knocked out the Giants from the playoffs.
Giants. He doesn't like Giants. I get it. I understand it. You don't like Giants. Pretty good.
You guys gonna nail that dynasty thing?
I'm trying to hold off. Trying to hold off.
It will be a war.
No, it's pretty simple. You know what? Let's touch on it right now. Let's touch on it right now because here's the thing. Okay, I understand where you were coming from because we went back and forth last night on Facebook as we were blowing up everybody else's phone. It
caused a couple people to leave the group.
Yeah. Shut up.
I was just trying to watch Football Life.
Jeez. My argument is this. Anytime you win something the majority of the time, that puts you in a rare group, especially when you're competing against 31 other teams. So to me, it doesn't really matter that in between the seasons they didn't make the playoffs because one of the years they still were 10 games over 500. So they had a good season. They just weren't as good because then Milwaukee and St. Louis and Arizona.
They're 4 games over 500.
They were 10 games over 500 in 2011, I think it was. Hold on, stand by one. I will pull it up. I think they were 86 and 76. So let me go ahead and pull that bad boy up. But and then the 1 year they did. They absolutely tanked. Okay. Yeah, it was 86 and 76. They were 8 games behind Arizona, who had an awesome season in 2011. 94 wins. So, but again, Milwaukee had a great season. St. Louis picked up that wild card. And if they would have had 2 wild cards like they do now, it would have been St. Louis versus San Francisco in the playoff. So by today's standards, they were a playoff team that year. The rules were different. And then the other year, yes, they absolutely stunk. But you're allowed to have a down year from time to time.
But that doesn't make you a dynasty.
I think it does, because if you look at the rule, the actual definition of a dynasty, it's a succession of people from the same family who play a prominent role. They've kept most of their team together since 2010. It's the same people.
For me, the rule on a dynasty is 4. You've got to win 4.
No.
So that's why your Patriots aren't a dynasty either.
The definite. They won 3 out of 4.
But they didn't win 4.
But it's the same group of people that play a prominent role when a team is dominating.
I wouldn't say they've dominated.
They've won 3 out of 5.
Playoffs. They haven't made the playoffs in the 2 years that they did.
But they've won 3 out of 5. They didn't win 3 out of 7 or 3 out of 8. They won 3 out of 5.
If they were in the World Series those other 3 years, 2 years, then I would agree with you.
No, I mean, even if they lost, then I would agree with you.
But they
weren't.
The reason why this team is a dynasty, it's the same team. It's the same team.
I get what you're saying, but they weren't in it those other 2 years.
It doesn't matter.
You have to be dominant.
No, you don't. You just have to be in it the majority of the time. 3 out of 5 is the majority of the time.
To me, dynasty is dominance. And they are not dominant because they didn't make the playoffs in the
So what does their winning percentage for World Series titles have to be before you say that they were dominant?
I would say, I mean, it's got to be longer than 5 years period.
There's no rule for that under the definition of a dynasty.
Just your definition of a dynasty. Wide open. Dynasty is wide open. It's
not according to the actual definition.
Well,
the Harlem Globetrotters are a dynasty.
In their league, yeah, they are. Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and take a break, but we're going to come back to this because I'm right. Moving on.
Are you or someone you know looking for a new job or career? The Vets on Media family would like to invite you to the National Career Fair in Phoenix on November 17th from 11 until 2 p.m. This free job fair will be held at the Phoenix Airport Marriott Hotel, located at 1101 North 44th Street, Phoenix. This is your chance to meet some of the top employers in the Phoenix area face-to-face. Get ready to jumpstart your new career at the National Career Fair in Phoenix, November 17th from 11 until 2 p.m. at the Phoenix Marriott Hotel, 1101 North 44th Street, Phoenix. For more information, visit ncfairs.com/Phoenix. Again, that's ncfairs.com/Phoenix.
Breaker 19. How about that bandit? You got them ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in your life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strong about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
If you or someone you know is looking for a new job or career, you need to visit the pros. National Career Fairs at ncfairs.com. National Career Fairs hosts over 300 career fairs a year nationwide. The events are free and give you the perfect chance to meet some of the top employers in your area face-to-face. To find the nearest career fair to you, visit ncfairs.com. Again, that's ncfairs.com. What are you waiting for?
Boom, 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 boom. Now tell me what you gonna do when it ain't nowhere to run. When judgment comes for you, when judgment comes for you, what you gonna do when it ain't nowhere to hide. When judgment comes for you, 'cause it's gonna come for you.
See, now, if we were going back to our discussion for the greatest
Cleveland
entertainers for Cleveland, I would have put them, but I think you were wrong in your selection. You want to know why?
Because it's Drew Carey.
No, because today's November 1st, and you should have played First of the Month. That's the song you should have played.
It's the first of the month.
Come on, Mr. DJ. Get it right.
I like Crossroads better than First of the Month.
I understand that, but it's the first of the month. It's perfect.
And I like that other song they have.
You only get to play that song one time out of 30 days. So anyway, so going back to mine and Joe's argument, where he's not realizing how right I am, he keeps saying, okay, your argument is they didn't go to the playoffs in between those 2 years. But if you look at 2011, where they didn't make the playoffs, and you take today's rules, they would have been the playoff team playing the Cardinals that year. Okay. So then that turns into 4 out of 5 years.
So then
so because of 1 year, one bad year, you got to strip them of the dynasty rule. 1 bad year, 3 championships. Thank you. So 1 bad year,
2 bad year. I mean,
how can you say
because
they
didn't make the
playoffs?
I mean, if you don't make the playoffs for teams, then it's not a successful season.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you think the Buffalo Bills losing 4 Super Bowls in a row? They said, "Well, it was a successful season." No,
because they made the Super Bowl. They still got extra money because they made the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but that's not what they were looking for. They wanted titles.
Right.
Titles. It doesn't. I don't care if you finish second or you finish 31st. Don't go into that. If you finish 31st,
last.
Nobody cares what you did unless you win. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Right.
Nobody cares.
Okay.
The years that the Yankees won their 3 in a row from 98 to 2001, who came in second?
What was
Who
the
came in
question?
second when?
And from 98 to 2001, their 3 World Series that they won. Now, you probably know this because you're a historian, but I got everybody else that's listening on Google right now trying to find the answer because nobody remembers what you do unless you win.
Right.
So your point as far as, well, they didn't make the playoff, it doesn't matter unless you win the championship, which they have done 3 out of the 5 years. That makes you dominant.
Right. Straight. They still have not won.
So you have to win in a row now.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely think that you have to at least make the playoffs in a period consecutively in a period of time. This is what makes that Yankees dynasty. Now that's a dynasty from 95 to 2008. They only won 3 World Series during that time.
Jeez.
And it was within 3 years, but they made the playoffs every
you got to
single
look
year.
at the competition that they were against. My Red Sox were absolutely horrible during that time. They were horrible except for the 2004, 2007, but that was pretty much the downfall, like I like to call it. The downfall of the New York Yankees was when the Red Sox became good. But in the 90s,
no, it's Aaron Boone's fault.
Well, no, I'm not going to take a side on this, but I can see one thing that I can understand what Joel's saying is if you're not in the dance at the end of the year, you're in the playoffs competing for it. And like, so if you don't go to the show, you better be in the playoffs.
Who made the playoffs during any of the times that the other teams were in?
So you're saying that the Cardinals making 4 straight NLCSs, winning 2 of them, that's not a dynasty?
I'll give them props for winning 2 championships, but I've always said that the NL is.
But
weak.
they've made the dance. They've made that.
No, they're not.
That series.
No, they're not.
For 4 straight years.
Because nobody calls losers a dynasty team, and if you lost.
Okay, so let's say then that the Royals go on there and they all of a sudden just go gangbusters and make the World Series for, let's say, the next I don't know, two out of the next 4 years. They're not. Are you saying then that they're not a dynasty because they didn't win this year?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
See, now I think that's ridiculous. I absolutely do because they were at the show. They were at the main stage there.
Just because you're giving ribbons to the 9th place team in your league doesn't mean we need to put them on a pedestal with ones that actually
still get a ring
win
for winning their championship.
So you're saying that a team that goes to the World Series 3 out of 5 years and only wins once is just as good as a team that goes 3 out of 5 and wins 3 times
and never make it without those years that they did.
So you're saying the team that doesn't win the championship should be called a dynasty in the same level of the ones that do?
Well, if it's consecutive, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
You can't call them. You can call the Giants streaky, but you can't.
All right, then give me the other dynasty during the Yankees run. Who's the other dynasty?
Which one?
Who are the other losers from 98 to 2008?
You're not talking about 1920?
No. I'm not talking about the A's or anything like that.
What about the 50s Yankees?
No, I was talking to him last night about the I told him that I would consider
the Mariners,
the St. Louis Cardinals from, I think it was like 41 to 46, because they won 3 out of 5 years. I would consider them a dynasty. And he said, no, this is his team.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in 42 they won it. They won again in 43, lost to the Yankees, won it in 44, won it in 46.
So 42, 44, 46. That's a pretty damn good team to me.
Yeah.
You're both wrong because it's only 3. You got to win 4 to be a dynasty.
There's no definition for that.
That's the rule. It's the unspoken rule.
Well, why don't you stay unspoken and mute yourself? Listen, taking baseball advice from the hockey guy.
Hey, my team's got 27.
Whatever.
27
Go in the penalty box. Go ahead. You're in the penalty box. Speaking of which, we need to bring that discussion back up about why there should be fighting in football. I think they should allow it, personally.
I just like when the guy's fighting, the moron swings at the guy with the helmet on. It breaks his hand.
I think I like the bigger moron that actually takes his helmet off.
Well, it's like in baseball. If you're going to charge the mound, you drop the bat and you drop your helmet. No, I take the helmet and I take the bat with me. Those are my tools, and I'm going to go out there and swing.
Like a problem child?
Exactly like problem child. Take one off the guy's chest. Hit the ball right off the guy's chest.
Well, that was a rule that was an NHL rule. You can't take your helmet off now, which is crap. Because that was a gentleman's agreement. You take your helmet off.
Getting back to our argument, the reason why you're wrong is because you're kind of contradicting yourself, because you said, okay, if they don't make the playoffs this year, but they win next year, well, then I'll start to think about it. You can't do that because it's still the same rules according to you. They didn't win in between those times, so you can't go back and say, well, then it'll be okay. No. You're either yes or you're no.
I would be on the fence about it. Why? I mean, the dynasty.
But you're not on the fence on it right now.
No, not at all.
But if they don't make the playoffs this year and they do the following year, then you're
then
right.
I would probably be at it. We'll revisit this conversation in 2016.
Come on, Joel.
But no, I think it's only 5 years. It's only a 5-year span. You can't call a dynasty straight within 5 years.
Again, that's not a rule.
So, okay, so what are you
celebrating for?
Boston College touchdown, another long one. Thank you.
So what about the Phillies? I mean, they made the World Series back in late 2000, I believe.
Which one?
Philadelphia Phillies.
2008 and 2009.
How many did they win?
Two.
They won 4. They won 2008. They lost in 2009
to the Yankees.
So they won another one though, didn't they?
So they won one championship.
But then they were also in the playoffs before. They
won one championship. To me, a dynasty has to be a winning organization. If you don't win the trophy, if you don't win the trophy, you are not the winner for that season.
You win the trophy for your league.
Wow, really?
Well, wait, you're saying
I'm going to start unveiling the Patriots 13 out of 14 AFC championships and start calling us a dynasty since 2000 then.
But wait, JD, you said that you're considering only dynasties that are winning organizations?
Yeah, they actually have the trophy.
Okay. No, you're saying that you're talking about with them being a winning franchise. Well, I'm just looking some stuff up.
What's the definition of a winning franchise? Just the fact that you're above 500 every year? Is that supposed to be it, or are you the one that actually has the brass at the end of the year?
What about the Braves in the late '90s, or even in the early '90s?
They
only won one World Series.
Oh, I thought they had more. See, that's why you're here. So no,
series. But they're not. They were a dominant team, but they only won one.
But they only won one.
They're still called a dynasty. They are still called a dynasty. Everyone else calls them a dynasty.
NL East dynasty?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, I kind of agree with Joel on that because it seems like in the early '90s it was only Braves baseball going on, and we consistently saw them in the postseason every single.
And saw them in
nowadays
the World Series.
We just call that flops.
World Series.
They're like the Bills. Flops. They were a very. But
if we're going by today's rules, like you were saying, they're a dynasty.
No, because they only have one piece of hardware. My rule.
I'm saying, but they won. They were a winning franchise. They were in the dance.
No, that's your rule.
They still won.
That's your rule, not my rule. They don't have the brass.
I mean, and that was through a period. That was through a period of 10 years.
And so they got one in 10 years. Congratulations. They're today's Yankees.
Do you know who has the most appearances in the postseason in the National League?
Your mom.
Carter.
Oh, I'm gonna go with St. Louis.
They're number 3. Number 2 is the Giants.
Doyers.
Number 1 is the Giants. Number 2 is the Dodgers. But what JD was mentioning, if it's a winning organization, now everyone knows it's the American League, it's the Yankees. But with the National League, they've got 23 national pennants and 25 playoff appearances for the Giants.
How many rings?
I think
they have
8.
like 6 or 8.
Do they have 8 now?
They have 8. Cardinals have the most in the NL with 11.
But to me,
still not really close to that 27 though.
I don't see how you can put the same teams that fail to win it on the same pedestal as the teams that do. I can't put the Braves on the same pedestal as the Yankees. I can't do it. There's no way.
I know
I'm giving props to the Yankees, and
I know we can't do that. I know we can't swap teams, but I would like to see like the '93 Braves take on like the '98 Yankees.
No, that would have been good.
Yeah.
That would have been real good. But that's what I'm saying. You can't say that this team is when they don't meet the standards of this team. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, but
I would put today's Giants ahead of those Braves
throughout 10 years. I mean, I would not. One because we're only talking a span of 5 years for the Giants, right? The Braves won. They won consecutively. They won the National League. I think they made the World Series, at least half of those times. But they lost to, I think, God, I don't remember off the top of my head. But they won, and they were a winning organization for 10 straight years.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're not a winning organization.
But everyone calls them a dynasty. They're a dynasty.
Then they're idiots
because they won.
Because you can't tell me that you can put, and again, I hate giving props to the Yankees or even the A's. You can't put the Braves on the same pedestal as the Yankees or the A's or even the Cardinals in the mid-40s. You can't do it.
The Reds in the 70s were a better dynasty.
They're not a dynasty.
They won with Aaron.
How many?
I agree with Aaron.
3, I think. I don't off the top of my head. They were in it though every year.
Yep.
They were in the World Series.
For once, the only time I will ever agree with
How
Aaron.
many? Actually, you've done that quite often. I'm starting to get worried about you.
It's because we're both bald.
Yeah.
It's an alliance.
We're voting you off the island.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to watch my team win. They're up by 9 with 2 minutes to go. Where was I? So, I mean, it's a debate that'll go on for forever across sports. But again, my final say on it.
You're both wrong. You got to win 4.
There's no rule for that.
That's the rule.
If they make the playoffs,
we just start handing out dynasty titles like Joel wants to do. Oh, you won 2 NL pennants or NL division pennants? Oh, you're a dynasty of the NL West. Good for you.
Now it's my turn to agree with them. I'll agree with them.
No, but you've got to win the trophy. You're right on that. But I think you have to win more than 3. You have to win 4. And you have to be in it the years you're not. So if you want to be a dynasty.
Okay.
You have to win that. You have to win.
So if you win 4 out of 6 years, but those 2 years you sucked or didn't make the playoffs, then it completely erases it.
But like the Bills.
Yeah.
So if they come back and they win this year.
Look at the Bills. They were in the Super Bowl 4 years
in a row. They never won.
No, and I'm not saying they're a dynasty. But had they won 4 straight and they were in it and lost the other 2, they'd be a dynasty. Like your Patriots, if they won 1 more because they were in it those years. They were controlling the league those years they were in it.
But that was only a 4-year span.
But
they were still in it for that time period.
So if they come back this year, the Giants come back this year and win it because of what they didn't do in those 2 years, then it still doesn't matter.
No.
Wow.
Because they were so bad.
4 out of 6 years. In it. No, they weren't bad. 86
they were like
75
wins one of those years.
You have to win 90 to make the playoffs. You have to win 90 games to make the playoffs.
Well, not according to today's standards. They would have made it with that record this year.
That's why this wild card game is so stupid. I hate this play.
They would have made the playoffs.
I hate
this year.
1 game to decide
that record.
They would not have made the playoffs this year.
Yeah, they would have.
No, Pittsburgh had a better record than them.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did. That's why they hosted that wild card game.
Let's just scrap the divisions altogether and whoever plays the best of them.
Pittsburgh had 72 wins that year. 72 and 90. San Francisco 86 and 76.
No, I'm talking about this year.
He's saying this year.
But I'm saying, because you keep going back to the 2 years that they didn't make it, I'm pointing at one of them. I'm saying, well, by today's standards, they would be in the playoffs.
Pittsburgh was 88 and 74.
And when?
Well, this year, and San Francisco was 88 and 74. Actually, they had the same record.
But going back to the 1 year that one of the years that San Francisco didn't make it after they won the World Series because Arizona took the division, by today's standards, they would have been the wild card team.
Yeah, if they were a dynasty, they would have beat the Diamondbacks. They would have had a better record than the Diamondbacks.
And by your logic, the 94 White Sox would have won the title because they were the best team. You can't go by what happens now versus what happened then.
I mean,
you guys are saying they were horrible. No, they weren't. They were 86 and 76. It's just the other teams ahead of them were that good.
You got to be better than those teams.
Absolutely. I mean, and even
then, but you can't say
you play their division 16 to 18 times. If you win 5 of those, 5 more.
But your 2 arguments, both of you have said this many times. They have sucked those 2 years. No, they didn't. They did for 1 year. They had a sub 500 record for one of those years. The other year, they were 10 games above 500. That is not sucking. 90% of the teams would take that record.
They didn't win their division.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. That is a successful season.
But they didn't make the playoffs.
But just because they don't have a ring,
if it's a dynasty, it's not successful if you don't make the playoffs.
Let's all go get rings when you win 80 games.
Yeah.
But well, 86.
83. You've got to be better than half, and you get a ring.
Okay, 86.
Hey, we're the Sun Devils. You won the Pac-12 South. Let's give out rings.
That's what I'm saying. That should be it shouldn't matter what else you do if you don't have the ring.
They are very good. They're not a dynasty.
They are
not a dynasty because they haven't made the. I mean, they had a good season that season, but if you're a dynasty, if you're going to be classified as a dynasty, even if you had a winning record and you don't make the playoffs, it's not a dynasty.
So going back in history, if they win this year, there's only been one team to win 4 championships in the same span, and that was the New York Yankees. One team in the history of the major leagues. If the Giants win this year, they're still not because of those 2 years.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
I agree with him.
Because the difference between the Yankees and the Giants is that the Yankees made the playoffs those 2 years that they didn't win it.
But that's because they suck. The competition in their division sucks.
So it's not their fault.
Yeah, it's not
beat the teams you play.
I mean, that's going back to the 72 Dolphins argument. All right, we're the greatest team ever, but they had the 3rd easiest record in the history of Super Bowl champions.
No one knows.
Who cares?
Yeah, no one remembers that.
I do.
You play who's on your schedule. They don't pick their teams.
And they can't pick their opponents. They can't sit there and say, well, we'll give you, we'll go ahead, we'll sign this guy, but you can have the other guy.
And then
they don't do that.
According to Miami, 18-0 is not as good as 17-0. So I'm still trying to figure that one out too. Because they won 18 consecutive before they lost the one in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the one that counts.
See, championships count. So all these other shit.
I agree with you on that aspect.
Championships is what makes you a dynasty. 3 out of 5 years is a damn good job.
If I got
and it's that rare.
But a dynasty should be a winning time throughout the period that we're talking
Okay, so let's say again, the next 5 years they win 3 more, but they suck.
They still don't make
for
the playoffs.
4 years, but they win 6 championships in 10 years.
It's a great run.
Then they're not a dynasty.
They're a very good team.
Wow.
They're very good, but they're not a dynasty.
So what would be then? Nobody should be called a dynasty then.
New York Yankees, that year from 95 2008, they made.
How many championships do they have?
They had 3 or 4 during that.
3 or 4 during 15 years.
But they still made
the playoffs. And I just gave you 6 and 10, and you said no.
Yeah, because if the Giants don't make the playoffs in any of those years, then no.
The Yankees didn't make the playoffs every year.
Yes, they did. 95 to 2000.
They were in the World Series one of those years too.
One of those years?
I don't remember which one off the top of my head.
Dude, come on, man. Seriously, I think you're overwhelmed with hate that the team kicked your ass.
I am not overwhelmed with hate. I'm not overwhelmed with hate. I'm sick. I don't like how this word dynasty is thrown around like a $2.
But you just give it to people that don't even win.
I agree with you. That's why I say 4.
But you're giving it to teams that don't even win a championship. You're just throwing it out there to any team. Well, they were good from this period to this period. But they didn't win, but they were good, so we're going to give them the title.
But I think what Joel's bigger, like what he's saying more is the fact that because I do agree, dynasty gets thrown around, it's a loose term. But I think what Joel's is just stating that is if you're going to be competing and you get to the playoffs, if you go ahead and win the World Series, the next year, your ass better be in the World Series. You better be in the postseason. So I think it's just the fact that he disagreed. Yeah, the Yankees are the dynasty. But I think what his main point is if you're not going to be in the World Series, you better have made the playoffs because to be a dynasty, you need to be.
You have to win. You have to win.
But I will say, but I do agree with what JD's saying. I mean, I will say, yeah, six rings in 10 years is a great. I think, like you said, that they're a damn good team. Then if you can get 6, but if you're saying for a dynasty, you need to be there every year. I can understand that as well.
If you show up, if you don't win, who the hell cares? Who cares? I wasn't even thinking of the Braves until you brought them up because they only won 1.
Look, the Yankees.
You did say though that they were a dynasty.
The Yankees won in '96, lost in the LDS in '97, won in '98, won in '99, won in 2000. That's a dynasty.
They were again. Titles, they're in the World Series again.
They were in the playoffs until 2008.
So they're the only dynasty in the history of the major leagues.
They're the only recent team. Because you're not going to really see this anymore. I mean, when you talk dynasty, that's
what
the
I'm
most
trying
recent
to tell
one.
you.
The ones that I'm talking about are like the Celtics in the 60s.
No, I'm trying to tell you how rare it is.
I'm not saying that it's not rare. I'm not saying that it's not impressive. But you can't say, I mean, because it is. It is very rare. It is very impressive. However, the other teams, no, because the other teams that made it were that also accomplished this feat, like the 40 Cardinals and then the Yankees, they made the playoffs.
And even in 2001, they lost the World Series.
So, but they still made the playoffs. In it. So they were still a winning team. They're still a factor.
There you go again. You're still saying, okay, you were second place forever, but I'm going to put you on the top pedestal with the teams that were in first place. You don't have to step on the one that's a little bit lower and to the right. You can go up there and claim your dynasty title on the top pedestal with the rest of those teams, even though you don't have the championships.
Because they were in the playoffs. They were in there competing. They're not playing golf.
How is that even equal? How is that even equal? I know you didn't win, but go up there with the champions. Go up there. Have your parade on the exact same day. You deserve it.
So let's say, excuse me, getting me all riled up here.
I know, I love it.
So then let's say, for example, you get hot one year in like the Giants did in 2010. You're not good enough to make the playoffs in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get hot again in 2012, win it, and you're terrible in 2013. And then 2014 you win it again. Whereas the 40 Cardinals, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I left a graduation so I could come argue with this.
He left. Just to clarify, people, okay? I got him so riled up that his friend who is graduating today, that is a very special moment for him.
Yeah,
her invited him to share this moment. And he skipped out on her.
Well, I went and said hi.
To make this argument.
I went and said hi, and I made an appearance.
And I wouldn't.
But then she had like a million family members, so I'm like, I could sneak out here.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
She's going, everybody group picture. Where's Joel?
Yeah.
He's arguing. I wouldn't consider your 40s Cardinals. They only won 3.
But
out of 5.
But they made the playoffs.
Only won 3.
Out of 5.
You got to get that 4th.
Where do you keep coming up with the number 4?
Because that's the magic number.
I think he's won 3 in a row.
Over a period of 5.
I'd give them that.
No, it's 4.
I'm saying if you're looking
that's why it's a loose term. You can't. They're like, oh, the Patriots won 3. Well, they're a dynasty. No, you got to win 4. 4 is the number.
I think if you're looking at a period of 5 years total, you have to take a look at all 5 years of winning. Okay, I mean, they won the World Series, but they weren't good enough to make it in 2011. Then they won the World Series, and then they were terrible in 2013. Matters. I think it does. I really do, especially if you're looking at it over 5 years.
It shouldn't matter. You got the majority of the rings in a set amount of time. 5 years has to be the minimal, by the way.
4 out of 5.
You can't do 2 out of 2 or 2 out of 4. You know, that puts you that gives you notice. But when you win 3 out of 5, I mean, that sets you in a class that only in the 100+ years of baseball.
A lot of the analysts, they laugh.
A couple teams
they laugh at it because they're like, yeah, they're good every other year. They win it every
other year. Doesn't matter. They were better than you. They were better than you more consistently.
There's a lot of people better than me.
Oh, thank you, hockey guy. Appreciate it. But that's what I'm trying to say, which is why you can't say that the Braves are on a higher pedestal when you go into Atlanta and you go into their field and they got that one trophy showing up.
They have long been considered the team of the 90s.
Yeah. Well,
when they won the World Series, I mean, you'll hear Costas. I hate Costas, but it'll say the team of the 90s has won the World Series.
There's a reason
why
they
never said they're the dynasty of the 90s.
I hate Costas because he sounds scripted, like his words are written down when he's calling a game. But
you can't put those teams on the same pedestal of teams that actually get there and win.
I disagree because it was a decade. It was a decade of dominance.
How did they dominate if they didn't win? They got shut down.
But they won.
They won the World Series.
They won 91,
92, 95, 96, 99.
So for their extended regular season, which is what I call the playoffs before the World Series start, and they were great. But when it came down to it, they should. Then if they're a dynasty, then they're the biggest dynasty to ever choke.
I disagree.
They choke the most out of any other team out there.
The Bills are
in baseball. They're the biggest dynasty to ever choke the most. They're the biggest dynasty to never be able to finish the job. Congratulations.
But they made it.
Congratulations.
But they made it.
Well, great.
The Giants weren't even a factor in 2 of these 5 years.
Then you're the owner of the Braves. I'm the owner of the Giants. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a picture in front of my trophies. Every year, I'm going to put them on a Christmas card. I'm going to send them to you.
I'm going to be taking a picture of the little flags that in my.
Congratulations. You won your division.
Yeah, look at this.
Outstanding.
90, 91, 92, 93, 94.
Patriots
95.
are the greatest football team of all time because we won our division 13 out of 14 years. Congratulations. All time.
Really good.
All time.
They didn't.
And that's not a dynasty.
1 year though.
That's not a dynasty though.
Braves did it 10 straight.
That's not a dynasty.
10 straight.
The 1 year we didn't make it, we finished 11-6 and tied for the division. 11-5.
You weren't good enough. You needed to win one more.
Yeah.
You weren't good enough.
We still have more championships. As a matter of fact, I think Patriots have more championships than the Braves do.
Different sport. You can't. It's 162 games.
Let's go ahead and take a break. We're coming back. We'll have Silent J coming in.
I win.
No, you don't.
Are you or someone you know looking for a new job or career? The Vets on Media family would like to invite you to the National Career Fair in Phoenix on November 17th from 11 until 2 p.m. This free job fair will be held at the Phoenix Airport Marriott Hotel, located at 1101 North 44th Street, Phoenix. This is your chance to meet some of the top employers in the Phoenix area face-to-face. Get ready to jumpstart your new career at the National Career Fair in Phoenix, November 17th from 11 until 2 p.m. at the Phoenix Marriott Hotel, 1101 North 44th Street, Phoenix. For more information, visit ncfairs.com/Phoenix. Again, that's ncfairs.com/Phoenix.
Breaker, 19. How about that bandit? You got them ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in your life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strong about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
If you or someone you know is looking for a new job or career, you need to visit the pros. National Career Fairs at ncfairs.com. National Career Fairs host over 300 career fairs a year nationwide. The events are free and give you the perfect chance to meet some of the top employers in your area face-to-face. To find the nearest career fair to you, visit ncfairs.com. Again, that's ncfairs.com. What are you waiting for?
And your wonderful Braves. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. I was just finishing up my winning round.
The gloves are coming off.
Against Joel Chaney here.
I win.
He says a team that doesn't win the championship is just as valuable as a team that does. And that's how he won the argument. So I'm trying to figure that one out myself. Moving on to this week's NFL football scores and football. What do we have Thursday night? Saints Panthers. I picked the Saints, man.
I didn't even watch it.
I picked the Saints. Yep.
I did too, but I forgot to give you my sheet.
The Saints are. That means you have the Panthers for that game.
Yep.
So but don't feel bad because there were a few others that picked the Panthers too. But I picked the Saints to win their division. They're coming around. Jimmy Graham's getting healthy. He's starting to look really good. Their running game's starting to look pretty good. Ingram had 30 rushes for 100 yards even and 2 touchdowns. On the other side, horrible. Cam Newton, 10 for 28, 151 yards, 0 touchdowns. Jonathan Stewart, 8 rushes, 46 yards, led the team, 0 touchdowns. Jonathan Cotchery, 2 receptions, 59 yards, 0 touchdowns. Carolina can't rely on their defense forever, and it's starting to show. Their offense absolutely stinks, and the bad part is everybody is healthy. All their running backs are healthy. Everybody's there.
Except their offensive line, right? They have a few players.
I think they do. That is true, but at the same time, I mean, it's starting to get really bad in Carolina. It is. So, but I got a beef with CBS. And I know we'll never have a sponsor for CBS, so it doesn't matter. The game of the week this week that they're showing to the nation is the Oakland Raiders against the Seattle Seahawks. Are you kidding me?
That's just stupid.
Are you kidding me?
It's probably because it's the Seahawks. So.
Your mic's not on. Brent went over to take over the mic. Didn't really work out too well for him.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
No, it's probably just because it's the Seahawks that are on television.
Defending World Series,
or the Super Bowl. I mean, I think that's really the only thing that, because otherwise, you give me one reason why someone's going to want to watch that game. Yeah,
I'm going to probably Max's to watch the game. And I know there's a lot of Bronco fans that hang out there too.
But you're in agreement so that the Cowboys Cardinals game is a much better game.
That is a better game, but the best game
that should be at the prime time or like
no. We already had this argument. Why nobody wants to watch the Cardinals and the Cowboys when you've got the Broncos and the Patriots?
Why? We've seen that 1,000 times.
And because it's always a shootout. It's always a great game. You trying to tell me that the Cardinals and the Cowboys are going to be a shootout and it's going to be more entertaining?
Well, it will be, especially if Romo plays. He might get hit and lose his back entirely.
And how's that going to help the game continue to be a shootout?
Because it's the best run defense against the best running back right now.
So, in other words, it's going to be a stalemate. It's a battle in the trenches. Very boring game. Very, very boring game.
I like to watch competition. I don't necessarily need to see 30,000 touchdowns to be impressed with a football game.
But you want to see 30,000 points for a basketball game?
No.
Liar, you're a Suns fan. They all do.
No, I want to see. I want to see I want to see physical defense. I want to see Dennis Rodman throwing elbows, Bill Laimbeer fighting under the basket. That's basketball I like.
That's not going to happen.
Anyway. Well, I know because they're all soft.
But the better game is going to be Patriots and Broncos. Absolutely.
Well, you already said you're a big Brandon Whedon fan earlier.
No, I didn't. You didn't hear that from me at all. I hope Romo plays. I've got him on as my starting quarterback. Fantasy even hurt. I cut
him because I don't think he's playing.
You cut him?
They dropped him.
I did too.
You dropped him?
I did too.
Are you kidding me?
I'm going with Alex Smith because I know he's going to start.
You guys are horrible.
I'm going with Andy Dalton.
That's even worse.
My starting quarterback's on bye, but he's facing Jacksonville.
All right.
Mine too. I got Rodgers.
Yeah.
I have Stafford.
No, I've got Davis as my backup.
So, you're out of your mind.
Well, he's the best one available.
Yeah, because the team has like 30 people.
Yeah. No, we only has 16. You only have 2 quarterbacks in your roster. So that's 32 quarterbacks. Wow, what a coincidence. There's 32 teams.
You only need a backup quarterback when your guy's in a bye.
Yep, which I think is next week for the Cowboys. So,
anywho. So
I'm picking the Cowboys to beat Arizona since we're talking about that game.
Me too.
I don't even think it's going to be close, even though I did pick up Brown on my NFL network. for receiver. But
you're crazy, especially if Romo's not playing. It's not even going to be close.
It hasn't been clear that he's actually starting yet. I heard he's still questionable.
That's a game time decision. 90 minutes before the game, they're going to decide, and he hasn't practiced.
Why is picking up Brown crazy if Romo's not playing?
No, that's not
his
crazy.
Quarterback?
What's crazy is picking the Cowboys to win.
I'm picking the Cowboys to win.
That's why I said you're crazy.
Absolutely. Because Whedon can still throw the ball. Whedon's a pretty good quarterback when he has protection, and Dallas has the best line in the league. Hands down. Hands down. They're the healthiest. They're the best. I don't think anybody can argue that.
I don't disagree with
any quarterback can be good.
But I don't think Brandon Whedon's good because I watched him play in Cleveland.
I rest my case.
They have
Cleveland's line sucks.
No, they still had a good line. They have probably the best left tackle in the league in Joe Thomas.
One guy that's far to the left,
and their center is
going to protect the internal side. No,
he's hurt now, but Alex Mack is a great center.
Come on. Look, okay, if I'm throwing dynasty around, you're throwing the word great around way too much.
He's a great center.
No, he's
top
not.
5 in the league.
No, he's not.
You probably have.
First off, there is no ranking for centers.
There is. The Jet center is probably the best.
No.
Mangold.
No.
Then Hardwick from the Chargers is up there.
Oh my God, are we really ranking centers now? In fact, why don't you go ahead and do an article on that?
Can you name 5 centers?
No, because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
Who's your center?
I look at the line as a whole. I don't really care. Some young guy.
But they got to make the line adjustments. That's the thing.
Look, all I'm saying is the Cowboys can beat the Cardinals.
I would take the Cowboys if I was sure Romo was playing.
Not only that, but no. What I'm looking at is the heavily underrated defense. That defense has probably the most speed as any other defense out there, and they have been going to the ball all season long, and they are absolutely. I don't want to say great. I'll say phenomenal. How about that one?
League leaders, top 3 rushing defense, number 3 rushing defense, Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, but everybody they play usually throws the ball against them. Who's the top rusher they've gone against?
They've gone against the Eagles, McCoy.
Okay, and he sucked against everybody.
The Raiders don't really count because they suck.
Okay, next. I can start to see why they're ranked at the top.
I'd have to pull their schedule.
See?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, they haven't really played anybody. Have they played Seattle yet?
No. They played the Niners.
Okay.
And they shut down Gore.
Yeah, Gore's been shut down a lot this year.
Yeah, I mean,
and James.
I'm not seeing anybody that they're playing that's actually impressive. So they should be up there,
right? And they will stop DeMarco Murray.
How can you say that just because they're third ranked? Because they're the third ranked and haven't faced a running back even close to this running game, but because they've shut down subpar offense.
I'm not saying they're great defense.
They get the best one.
They get burned on the passing.
On the deep passing, they'll get burned. Yeah,
but that's their game plan is to stop the rush and blitz.
Well,
we saw what the Redskins did, like when they did blitz and put pressure on the Cowboys. They had no answer for it.
Yeah, so that's why you take a week and you make adjustments because you know you're not the only team that's looking at that film.
Yeah, but then you're going to be starting Whedon.
You don't know that yet.
But that's what. Even if you start Romo, he's going to be rusty at best.
Even with Whedon, if they can protect him, he's going to be good.
But you had to at least acknowledge that the defense of the Cardinals is probably the best suited to take down.
No, because I got nothing to measure that against. They haven't played anybody that you could say is a threat.
The Chargers, the Giants, the Niners,
the Chargers have 6 running backs on IR.
The Redskins, the Raiders, and the Eagles.
Okay, so nobody with a rushing game that's out there. Hold on, man. Let me check something.
The Chargers do run the ball, and the Broncos do try and run the ball. They don't do it as much as they pass.
Horrible.
When they played the Eagles, was McCoy out?
No, he just couldn't do anything.
Yeah. Sproles was.
Sproles was up. Okay, that's who I was thinking of.
Okay, so I'm just going down the best running backs. Murray, Foster, Bell, Forsett, Forte, Morris. Did they play Washington?
Morris, they played the Redskins.
That's 1. Lynch, Ivory, Miller, Ellington, which he can't play. Bernard, Ingram. So I'm past the top 15 now. So they played one running back.
But that's not their
in the top
fault.
15.
They play the teams they play.
But that's what I'm saying.
But Oakland tried to run on them too, and they couldn't do it.
They're right where they're supposed to be, given the fact that they haven't come across anybody worth challenging them. This is going to be their biggest challenge, and I'm telling you, Murray will have over 100 yards rushing in this game, and at least 2 touchdowns.
I don't think,
and maybe 1 fumble.
I know Oakland tried to rush on them, but they try to run on them with Darren McFadden, who hasn't been good in a while.
I'm going
Maurice
down this
Jones
list of top running backs, and all the ones that you said they played are at the bottom of the league in rushing.
But are they at the bottom of the league because they played the Cardinals?
Yeah, that one game made up the last 8 weeks.
Could be. If you can't get 100 yards on the team.
Wow, that one game made up their 8 weeks. No, that's ridiculous. Darren McFadden's 27th. I'm trying to see. Did they play Detroit?
No.
Okay.
Detroit has the best defense, which is surprising.
Did they play Cleveland? Cleveland and their awesome offensive line, by the way, has the 31 ranked rusher in the league.
This year doesn't count because they lost their center. I already said that.
I'm trying to look. Who else have they played? They played Atlanta? No? Oh, they played San Diego. He's 23rd. Congratulations.
Hey, he's 23rd because he played the Cardinals. Just telling you.
Nothing that you have said at any point during your incoherent rambling.
I'll take your apology on Tuesday.
Has made any sense whatsoever. Therefore, you are awarded no points.
And may God
have mercy on your soul. Wow.
You look like a broken man over there.
No, I'm just checking stuff.
He's trying to find a stat. Alfred Morris and his 513 total yards is comparable to DeMarco Murray and his 1,054 rushing yards that he's got right now.
It's all right. He's going to be shut down and hopefully, well, probably.
He's got 1,000 yards halfway through the season.
And how many fumbles does he have?
5.
I'm not saying he's not the
correction. 3. He's got 3 fumbles.
Is that fumbles or fumbles lost?
It just says fumbles. 3. So I'm assuming.
I know he has more than 3.
Hey, in the stat book says he's only responsible for 3. So he averages 131 yards a game.
He won't do that tomorrow.
And that's on top of Romo getting his numbers, his 270 and 280 yards and 3 touchdowns.
He won't do that tomorrow.
Never mind that Murray rushed for over 100 against Seattle.
Yeah.
Seattle has a best
against that awesome defense.
Yeah. That defense is done.
Well, yeah, I probably agree with that. But they haven't played anybody. They haven't played anybody, man. DeMarco, okay, let's check it out. Let's see who they played.
They beat Seattle in Seattle.
San Francisco, St. Louis. San Francisco and St. Louis have top 10 defenses. Since you on there looking that up, go ahead and look that up.
I'm not looking it up.
Tennessee, I'm not sure of. The Saints, top 10 rushing defense. Look that up.
No,
Houston, one of the best defensive lines in the league. Houston.
Yeah, with Clowney out, that doesn't count.
They had it last year and they got it this year. The guy that started last year is starting right now. Don't give me that. And that's just the last 5. You want me to keep going? Because so far they played a hell of a lot better competition than the Cardinals. I can keep going. Once again, nothing that you have said in your incoherent rambling.
The only team they've played, it looks like they played the Niners and the Seahawks.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even mention Seattle.
And the Saints are the top 10.
So you guys played one running back in the top 15. He's playing a good defensive line every other week, and he's already got 1,000 yards.
Won't happen tomorrow.
I'm gonna blow up his phone tomorrow. I'm telling you. Hold on, man. Let me give out Aaron. Let me give out Aaron's. Can I give out your number?
No.
How about his Twitter
I don't need
handle?
I don't need a man zealot. Disconnect my phone tomorrow.
What's your Twitter handle? We'll blow you up on Twitter.
AKD_56.
Yep.
Blow them up, listeners.
Absolutely.
If they do it, I mean, and I'll say it. If Romo was playing and it was 100%, I would pick the Cowboys.
And he's only in his 4th year, which means he's got at least a good 3 or 4 more years.
Murray?
Before he falls apart. Yep.
he's hurt every year so far.
So far he's doing pretty good
this year, but at some point he'll be hurt, and Randall will have to play.
Okay, so after they clinch the playoffs?
Could be.
Okay.
I just know he's going to miss about 3 to 5 games this year because he does every year.
I don't think so. I think he's going to be all right. But Murray's rushed against a lot better defenses. Won't happen tomorrow. More frequently than the Arizona Cardinals. So, yeah, he'll have 100 yards tomorrow. Minimal. He averages 130. He'll have 100.
I'd say 80 to 90.
And 3 touchdowns.
0 touchdowns.
Ever.
0.
Come on. Look, all right.
They'll score, but it'll be Bryant or more than likely Terrence Williams.
Oh, yeah. What's up with Peterson?
He's going to play.
Is he going to play? So he's going against Bryant.
He hasn't impressed me all year, but
he's going against Bryant. And Bryant's not bad.
Peterson hasn't been that great either.
No, he got that money and checked out.
So there's that game. And then the Pittsburgh Baltimore game, I'm looking forward to that game.
That should be a good game.
Yeah.
That's going to be a damn good game. And it's in
Pittsburgh. It's in Pittsburgh.
You got a call.
Outstanding.
I think it's Silent J.
Yep. Calling in right now on the JD's Rock Sports Bet at iBetX.com hotline is Silent J for Tactical 16 Radio. What's up, Silent J?
Hey, what's going on? I was going to call sooner, but I wanted to hear all this garbage about the Cardinals actually being able to do something against runners.
Wow, I found somebody immediately that already agreed with me.
Hey, it's all right if you just watch ESPN and repeat what you see.
Oh, wow. Well, we'll be repeating what we see tomorrow, won't we? So, all right, Jay. So I want to thank you very much because there's a very important reason why you were on the show again as a repeat volunteer. First off, how you doing, man?
Well, you know how I'm doing? It's snowing. That's how I'm doing.
It's snowing in Buffalo. There is a shock.
It is snowing in Buffalo. It's snowing in Orchard Park. I don't know about Buffalo itself, but I'm sure it's snowing up there too.
And how much snow are you supposed to get?
I don't know if any of it's gonna stick. Kind of like that wet, rainy snow right now. That real garbage stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I just got a brand new bottle of whiskey in my shopping adventures today, and I'm in. I'm in for the night.
Outstanding. All right, that's right, because it's like almost 5 o'clock your time. So, outstanding.
Yeah, it's time to drink.
Well, once the sunlight starts to go away, that's what you do. That's what you do. So, buddy,
talking about, aren't you Irish? Once the sun rises, it's time to drink again.
No, I'm not Irish. Just because I grew up in South Boston doesn't mean I'm Irish.
Oh, geez. Sorry. Forgive me. I thought everybody from
Actually, I wish I could say I'm Irish because, it's a lot tougher than saying, yeah, I'm half Canadian French. Better watch your back, eh? So, all right. So
he drinks a lot of wine.
He is back on our show, Silent J, Tactical 16 Radio, because there's a purpose for him to call in.
There is.
And we had a bet, friendly bet, a gentleman's bet, that when the Bills and the Patriots played, if the Bills were to win, I would have to come on his show and proclaim the almighty greatness of the Buffalo Bills. That didn't happen. So he is now on my show.
Yep. Well,
and go ahead and take a big gulp because you're going to need it after this.
Before I say what I have to say, I'm going to pour myself a shot of I got Buffalo Trace. I got to stay true to my Buffalo roots and some Buffalo Trace. But hey, give me 1 second there.
All right.
Just to losing my dignity.
Woo.
That's good. Woo.
There you go.
I called to proclaim the New England Patriots to be the very best football team, not only in the AFC East, but on Vets on Media radio network.
Outstanding.
The Patriots are by far light years ahead of my Buffalo Bills.
This is a recorded show, so we'll definitely have to loop that from time to time and make sure we get that piece. Well, you know what? It takes a man to own up to a man's bet, and so I definitely appreciate you for saying that. And I'm not going to drag that one on too much longer because you came right out with it. So, getting into since you were listening, the Cowboys and the Cardinals tomorrow. Who do you have picked for that game tomorrow?
I do believe I picked the Cowboys, and if I did not, it was because of the quarterback question. But I do believe the Cowboys will win that game, just because. I mean, I'm a fan of old school football, and the Cowboys have an amazing offensive line right now, and the best running back in the league. And I seriously do think that's hard to beat. You know, and they got a lights out receiver and Des Bryant. I just think that's too much for Cardinals defense. That, you know, I don't think they're there where they can stop an elite running game.
Mm-hmm. And
so yeah, I got the Cowboys.
You got the Cowboys. Brent, who do you got?
I got Cardinals.
I already know who Aaron has.
Cowboys.
All right. So, and I got the Cowboys. How about them Cowboys?
You need to ask him about the train.
Look, all right. Your Buffalo Bills have a fan within Vets on Media other than yourself.
What? Awesome.
And thank you. He has created the hashtag Orton Train. I know. Hold it. Let's just try to hold it in. And every time he picks the Bills, he says, "I'm riding the Orton train." And that's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard.
Hey, listen, the entire metro area of Buffalo, New York is riding the Orton train. Replace Orton with any quarterback that wins a couple games, and I'm going to ride that train. And we've been doing that for the last 20 years.
So who's better, Manuel or Orton?
Oh, I'd say Orton in a heartbeat.
Cal Orton, light years ahead. I just think Manuel may be a better athlete, but Orton he seems to have that quarterback intelligence that Manuel's lacking.
This was my thought on Orton is everywhere he goes, he's not flashy. He doesn't do anything great. And I think he doesn't do anything that jumps out at you. I don't want to say great. And that's why people always move on from him. But I think in Buffalo, he can get by with that because they don't need someone to be flashy. They just need him to throw it to Sammy Watkins and let him do his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think the receivers in Buffalo complement somebody like Orton. The only, I think, amazing receiver we have is Sammy Watkins, and it's still early on in his career. But Chris Hogan, Woods, Williams, they're average wide receivers. They're not going to try to do too much to win the game. And the same thing with Orton. He's not going to try too much to win the game. He's just going to throw that first down, you know, take your shots when you can, but nothing flashy about any of them. And I think it just fits perfect. They're just going to grind away, not lose focus, and, you know, hopefully it all pans out at the end.
Well, you better take a couple more shots because that's probably not going to happen this year, buddy.
Listen, if you're talking about Twitter and Orton, I got a good one for you. It's called Drunk Orton. Is this Twitter handle? Hilarious. I don't know who did it. It's called Drunk Orton.
Orton.
It's the funniest thing in the world. It's like some guy's acting as if he's a drunk Kyle Orton, and the stuff he says on it will make your Sundays complete.
Well, let's check that out.
And follow this guy on Twitter. It's hilarious. And some of the pictures he's got of a young, drunk Kyle Orton, it's just awesome. I mean, the guy's fast becoming a cult figure in Buffalo, New York. And I like a guy like Orton. He's stuck in the league a long time. And like you said, he's not flashy. He's not even that good.
Mm-hmm.
He just does enough to to please the fans. He did that in Chicago, Denver, that spot duty in Dallas a couple games. He's an all right guy. I like him. I'm ready to put him on the Wall of Fame already.
Wow. That's impressive. Buffalo is actually off this week. So we've already given
so we're
Buffalo.
not gonna lose. Even better. Another reason to drink.
We've given Buffalo more airtime on my show than I do when they are playing.
There's never enough time. Okay.
and the funny thing is, I'm about to transition to a game between Tampa Bay and Cleveland. So
can we keep talking about the Bills?
I'm actually thinking about it. But who do you have between Tampa Bay and Cleveland?
Cleveland. Tampa's a train wreck.
Now Cleveland's 4-3. Real quick before we go to a break, I want you to think on whether or not they are going to go to the playoffs. Don't answer it just yet. And then when we come back, I'm going to get your answer on that.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in their life. I'm no different. Hey, everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strong about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
Breaker, one man. How about that bandit? You got them ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Do you need an extra push to start your day? Well, then tune in to Addie's Radio. Addie's Radio is a show that explores tough questions in an open and fun forum. The program also engages hard-hitting issues concerning veterans' physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. This show airs every Tuesday from 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Vets On Media Network. Addie's Radio is hosted by Jesse James, a combat veteran of Afghanistan, so he knows the problems that veterans face every day. Jesse provides you guidance each and every week to be a better you. So tune into yourself each week by tuning into Addie's Radio. Go to vetsonmedia.com for show details.
If you or someone you know is looking for a new job or career, you need to visit the pros. National Career Fairs at ncfairs.com. National Career Fairs host over 300 career fairs a year nationwide. The events are free and give you the perfect chance to meet some of the top employers in your area face-to-face. To find the nearest career fair to you, visit ncfairs.com. Again, that's ncfairs.com. What are you waiting for?
I like that song. It's a good song right there. Good song right there, man. You know, I don't give you any compliments on your selections because they're usually very wussy. But that was all right.
I try to keep it fan friendly.
Fan friendly. Wow. All right, man. You couldn't handle the music that Silent J plays on his show then, with your fan friendly top 40.
I listen to metal.
Yeah. Doesn't show. That's all I'm saying.
I came out and played Rammstein like the first 5 times you let me pick.
Yeah, but I even picked that stuff. Rammstein's really,
it's probably my favorite.
It's a must. along with Rage and things like that. But I mean, you played some girl one time.
No, I played Paramore. It's a top 40 song.
Never again.
And when I said Haley Williams is hot, even Justin agreed with me.
There's a lot of hot chicks out there. Doesn't mean they belong on the damn radio.
You had the female lead singer category.
Like Kim Kardashian, getting popular for having absolutely zero talent whatsoever. That's just ridiculous. I don't know why I brought that up. Moving on. So, Jay, you with us still?
Oh, man, that was quite the segue.
And we were just talking about females with no talent. And I was like, Silent J is on the phone.
You're awesome.
Sorry, man. Eagles Texans. LaShawn McCoy, I don't know what the hell's going on with him. Last year, he was the most dominant running back in the game. This year, he has almost disappeared. And so, who do you got in this game?
The Eagles.
Why?
Yeah. Why? Brian Fitzpatrick. That's why.
I'll take the Hobbit Slinger. I will. I'll take him. As a matter of fact, I think I am taking the Texans this week. So, Brent, who you got this week? Eagles, Texans.
Eagles.
Well, not everybody can be right at the same time. So, the Texans will win this game. The Eagles will lose again. The Cowboys will reclaim first place with their huge victory over the Cardinals and their lack of their rushing defense for this game. Speaking of lack, let's talk about the Jets. The Jets, Jets. Going into Kansas City, arguably probably the toughest place to play this year. I'm taking the Chiefs. Like I was going to hesitate and actually take the Jets on that. You like that? Joe, who do you have in the Jets Chiefs?
The Chiefs. I don't know if you can be a worse franchise than – I don't know if there's a worse franchise out there than the Jets.
Wow. That's saying a lot. And the Raiders don't even have a win yet.
But at least they have a quarterback that might go somewhere in the future.
That's true.
They do have plans for the future in Oakland.
And Vic is starting this week for the Jets, I believe. I believe Michael Vick is starting. Joe, who do you got?
The Chiefs.
Chiefs. Is everybody running Chiefs?
Chiefs.
Okay, cool. Next game. Wow, these schedule makers, they know how to set up some competitive games here. Jaguars at the Bengals. Joe. The 1-7 Jaguars.
Bengals.
Okay, Bengals. Brad?
I don't know why. Just the Bengals.
Because they got to be better than Jacksonville, right?
I've got Cincinnati.
Aaron?
Bengals.
Joe?
Bengals.
All right, I'm taking the Bengals, but the real question here is who is going to have more wins this season, the New York Jets or the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Jaguars.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm a closet Jaguars fan.
I
want them to do well.
Yeah. Oh, this is another wish and well team.
Yeah.
To go along with your Steelers.
Because I hate the Panthers and I want them to be better than them.
What the hell are the Jaguars? They're not even in the same division.
They came in together. That's why.
Wow. That puts them together.
They've both been in one.
The Jaguars are not going to do better than the Panthers.
Not this year.
No, ever.
They need to get Tom Coughlin back.
Ever in the history of Jacksonville will they do it. The Jacksonville Jaguars will become the London Jaguars before they're better than Carolina.
Still be better. They'll turn it around.
That's just not going to happen. All right, here we go. This is a game that's actually could be competitive. The San Diego Chargers at the Miami Dolphins. First competitive game of the night. Joe, who you got?
Chargers.
Brent?
Chargers.
Aaron?
Chargers.
Joe?
I'm also taking the Chargers.
Nobody's taking the Dolphins.
I think I took the Dolphins.
Did you?
Because of that cross-country road trip thing.
That
was my one thing.
That does come into play more often than not.
And Tannehill's been playing well, so it's kind of a toss-up. It's one of those that I'd say a home team. I don't think San Diego's been that dominant.
Yeah. Phillip Rivers has thrown for 600 more yards and 9 more touchdowns than Ryan Tannehill this season.
Still throws like a girl.
Hey, well, the girl's pretty effective.
Top 3 most punchable face.
Kim Kardashian?
Kim Kardashian. Again, we have mentioned Kim Kardashian way too many times on this show.
You know, Ray Rice would disagree on that. He's got other punchable faces.
Yeah.
Ayo.
Yeah. I'm going to take the Chargers. I'm going to take Chargers on that one. Another game that could be pretty competitive. The Washington franchise at the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, dear.
This game could be close. Although RG3 is expected to play this week. Is that the difference? Could that be the difference? Joe, who do you got?
Well, let's be really politically correct here. You got the Washington racist name versus the Minnesota rapist name between the historically raping Vikings and then the racist Redskins. RG3, they're better off with, what's his name, McCoy. I'm going with Minnesota.
Wow. How far has RG3 fell if you're saying that Colt McCoy is better than he is?
Yeah.
The journeyman.
A running quarterback coming back from a dislocated ankle injury. And was it he was good in his rookie year. He hasn't been good since.
Actually, the funny thing is both quarterbacks in this game have had ankle injuries. Bridgewater too. So who would you take, Bridgewater, or would you take RG3?
I would take Drunken Miller.
Drunken Miller.
Those two.
All right.
I have little faith in either one of those quarterbacks.
But if you had to pick, like they're the last kids on the basketball court, and you had to pick one of them.
Bridgewater, because I've seen less of him in the pros.
Okay.
I like Mark Rippon if we're talking about old quarterbacks.
Yeah, no, we weren't. And wow. Brent, who you got?
I made my decision before I found out that RG3 was starting, but I picked Washington.
Did you?
Yeah. So now I know that he's in the starting lineup. We'll see how that plays out. I'm not so comfortable with my pick now.
All right. Joel.
I'm taking Washington.
Aaron.
Redskins. Although I probably wouldn't have if I knew RG3 was playing. I just don't trust him.
I'm taking Minnesota. Taking the home team.
That's because you love Bridgewater.
No, because
and his tiny hands.
They've been playing pretty good lately. So
it hasn't started snowing there yet.
And it's not predicting the snow this weekend either. So I'm taking Teddy Bridgewater and Minnesota Vikings and that rushing game against that horrible defense. Moving on. The St. Louis Rams rivalry game against the San Francisco 49ers. Joe.
Why not? The Rams.
Why not? Where are you in the rankings, by the way? Are you mid-pack?
Listen, I'm shooting for some upsets here. I'm in the middle. I just don't like the Niners. I don't like them. So the Rams.
I can see why you wouldn't like them. I can definitely see that. Yeah. Anyway, so you got the Rams. Brent, who you got?
San Fran.
Aaron.
Niners.
Says the Niners fan. I'm going with the Niners. On the road. If it was in St. Louis, I'd take St. I think St. Louis already beat the Rams. Or the Niners.
They did.
No, the Niners beat the Rams.
Did they?
St. Louis.
That was close though, right?
Oh, okay. New England clam chowder.
Is that the red or the white?
Awesome. New England Patriots at home hosting the Denver Broncos. Joe, are the Patriots as great as you claim them to be?
No. That soundbite was inaccurate. I'm going with the Broncos. I just think the Broncos are the best team in the AFC.
Guess we'll find out. Brent, who you got?
Denver.
Thank you.
Horses.
Thank you.
That defense is way better.
Why not? I'll take the Patriots.
Damn it. I want to be the only person on the Patriots.
It's because of the dynasty argument.
Okay.
There.
Because you realize I was right and you're trying to please me now?
No, just because I'm kind of mad.
Hey,
don't
Joe.
start this again. We don't have time for that.
Joe, real quick. We got some minutes. Joe, real quick. Is winning a World Series 3 out of 5 years put you in the dynasty talk?
But not making it the
Hey.
other two.
I would say yeah.
But not making the playoffs the other two?
Doesn't matter. 3
I would say-
championships.
Oh yeah, see that's a tough one. Not making the playoffs, but
you won the
nowadays,
hardware.
Yeah.
Last question on
And
this subject.
The fact that there's so much money in the Dodgers organizations and San Fran still beats up on them. Yeah, I would say it's a dynasty.
He's making friends everywhere today.
You and him should just get a show and agree with each other for 2 hours.
That would be an awesome show.
Why not?
Take another shot. All right.
We call it the Barry Horowitz Pat Yourself on the Back Show. That's what it'd be called.
There you go. I love that, Barry Horowitz. All right. So, yeah, I got the Patriots. I never pick against my team, ever. Even though I will tell people to pick against my team because that would be the smart move. Actually, I think the Patriots offense is going as good as anybody else out there. I don't see Denver being able to stop them. I just don't. All right. The game of the week, according to CBS, the Oakland Raiders against the Seattle Seahawks. Joe, please indulge me. Tell me why the Raiders will win this game.
If they had Rich Gannon, they would win the game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Going with Seattle. I can't.
Yeah, you can. Okay, all right. So, Brent, are you the brave man of the squad? Are you going to say that the Raiders are going to go into Seattle and upset the defending champions?
I'm not even going near close to that. They will show up, and that's pretty much it's going to go downhill from after the coin toss. It's going to go downhill.
Aaron, you're a man of bold predictions.
If it was in Oakland, I would take the Raiders because that Seattle team is awful right now.
They're awful. So they're right.
But they play well at home. It's just not going to happen. Seahawks.
They already lost a game at home. I think they lost two games at home.
Dallas. They lost to Dallas.
They lost to Dallas,
who is a good team, unlike the Raiders, who are a bad team.
But that's why they play the games, man. Any given Sunday, man.
Maybe if it was the Jaguars, I would take them over the Seahawks.
You would take the Jaguars over the Seahawks?
I wouldn't. If it was in Oakland, though, I would take the Raiders.
Joel. You guys need to start bold predictions because me and Brent are at the top of the list here, and you guys need to start catching up.
Well, I can't separate myself any worse, or else I'll be behind Christina.
And in the running for the in the rear award, the coveted in the rear award, Joel, which Christina is currently she's holding on to, but she's been doing good lately.
Be careful.
On that one, go.
Seahawks.
She said she badly does not want the in the rear award. I had a little talk with her fiance about that. All right, yeah, I'm taking Seattle. I don't have to make a bold prediction like that. Here's the game. This should be the game of the week. Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
We already did offenses, this one, didn't we?
Not with Jay on the line. Both offenses have just been throwing the ball lights out lately. 500 yards a game.
Shouldn't be the Sunday night game.
Silent J, who you got?
Geez, I hate them. I do. I really do hate them because I live there, have a station there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to go with the Steelers because you can't go from that many yards passing to a letdown. I think it's mathematically impossible.
We are talking about Roethlisberger, though.
Yeah, well, see, I'm also in basic math in college, so I know nothing about it. So, here you go.
All right.
And how many touchdowns did Roethlisberger have last week?
He had like 5.
6.
Yeah. So, nice. Brent.
I'm going Steelers.
Steelers.
Yeah, I'm going the Steelers. They just don't lose primetime night games at home.
I am going with Baltimore, and I'm going to call that bluff.
I'm serious. That's what they were saying last time.
Look, Steve Smith is, for some reason, Steve Smith goes freaking balls out whenever he gets in a fight. And there's going to be a fight, either verbally or physically, between him and pretty much every defender on the field. And he will have 137 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. And the Baltimore Ravens will win this game.
That game is going to be a shootout.
50 yards receiving, 1 touchdown.
Oh, that game is going to be a shootout, but the Broncos-Patriots won't.
So I didn't say that. I think the Denver defense is better than you give them credit for.
Hey, Jay, what game would you rather see on TV? The Cardinals and the Cowboys, or the Broncos and the Patriots?
He'd rather watch the Bills practice.
Broncos and Pats.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah, but would you rather see the Steelers and the Ravens or the Cardinals and the Cowboys?
Steelers and Ravens.
I wouldn't watch either one of those. I'd watch the Antique Roadshow.
So, if you had to watch,
if I had to, the Cowboys and the Cards.
Why?
Thank you.
With a backup quarter, you'd rather see a backup quarterback and not know what that offense is going to look like?
How many times?
Listen, I'm a Bills fan. I've been watching backup quarterbacks since 1998.
Wrong person to ask. Take another shot, please. All right. Final game Monday night. Colts and the Giants. Colts and the Giants. Brent, we can start with Brent. Jay, I'm going to come back to you in a second. Brent.
Colts.
Aaron.
Ponies.
I'm also taking the Colts.
The Giants are hosting.
Doesn't matter. They're awful.
Well, I know. I've said that all season.
They could host a CFL team and they might lose.
The Argonauts would kick their ass.
Not right now. The Argonauts are pretty bad.
No, I'm saying the Argonauts would kick their ass. Jay, who do you got in this game? Do the Giants have what it takes to shut down the Colts?
Giants.
You're taking the Giants.
Yeah, I don't think the Colts are. The Colts are. It's just an up and down team. They have Andrew Luck. I don't know. They're too up and down.
They have Andy Studebaker at linebacker. That's a big key.
Moving
I don't
on.
even know who that is. Is he even on Madden?
If you're not on Madden, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but that was a sarcastic comment.
Maybe it just has his number. It goes back to the day where it's just a number. It's just his number. I'm going to take the Colts. One, because I hate the Giants, for obvious reasons. But two, I agree with Aaron. They're not that good. I said at the beginning of the season, the Giants will be competing for last place with the Washington Redskins in the East. So Colts will win. So with that being said, Silent J, your closing thoughts for the day going into the weekend. What are you looking most forward to? And go ahead and promote your show as well, sir.
I'm most looking forward to getting my project done on Monday and to get that turned in for my mass media class, which constitutes 30% of my grade.
Holy Jesus!
So my average right now could be a D if I don't do that on this. I'm looking forward to doing Center Mass with Robin Sound J tomorrow at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, 7:30 Pacific. I got some doctor from Phoenix going to be on Wednesday night show at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to talk about brains and thinking and just all weird woo-woo science stuff.
Wow.
And yeah, that's it. It's November. It's in Buffalo. The Bills aren't playing this week, so yeah.
And when's your show?
Center Mass is on 10:30 p.m. Sunday nights Eastern, and then Tactical 16 Radio with just me by myself is 7 p.m. Eastern Wednesday night.
Outstanding. Well, we look forward to listening. We'll plug you on the book, and hey, go Patriots!
Yeah, go Jets.
Oh, on that note, let's go ahead and take a break. Jay, I'll holler at you later, man.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in their life. I'm no different. Hey, everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strong about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
Breaker, one now. How about that bandit? You got them ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Do you need an extra push to start your day? Well, then tune in to Addie's Radio. Addie's Radio is a show that explores tough questions in an open and fun forum. The program also engages hard-hitting issues concerning veterans' physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. This show airs every Tuesday from 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Vets On Media Network. Addie's Radio is hosted by Jesse James, a combat veteran of Afghanistan, so he knows the problems that veterans face every day. Jesse provides you guidance each and every week to be a better you. So tune into yourself each week by tuning into Addie's Radio. Go to vetsonmedia.com for show details.
If you or someone you know is looking for a new job or career, you need to visit the pros. National Career Fairs at ncfairs.com. National Career Fairs hosts over 300 career fairs a year nationwide. The events are free and give you the perfect chance to meet some of the top employers in your area face-to-face. To find the nearest career fair to you, visit ncfairs.com. Again, that's ncfairs.com. What are you waiting for?
Shiver in the dark, it's raining in the park. The meantime, sound of the river, you stop and you hold everything.
It's too mellow, man. That makes me want to, get a drink.
That's why I put it on last.
But then again, I forgot who I'm talking to. It makes you want to get a drink. Really?
We should just bring him in and have him here on the station.
Well, next weekend, in 2 weeks, we may be able to. And just drink because you know what I do for my mom. My mom that passed, I celebrate, and her birthday's on the 16th, so we just made for that weekend show.
Nice. My dad's is the next weekend.
Is it? Yeah. Hey, drinking consecutive weekends. All right.
You won't be here next weekend.
Oh, that's right. I'll be I'll be here on the weekend of the 16th. So
word.
So yeah, so I'll be here, and then yours, Dad's following week. So drinks all around, baby.
My dad's is next week.
It is next week?
Week from today.
Oh, you have to post it. So we can all take a shot for him. I won't be able to until I get back from the racetrack. But alrighty then. So I will be out on Friday. Well, we'll be back on Tuesday anyway, so I don't really need to make those announcements just yet. But I do want to thank everybody for listening, everybody for tuning in. I want to thank you guys, you awesome guys, for coming in and getting my blood going. And I mean that's why I love you guys, man. Whether you're right or you're wrong. I still love you. But on that note, just know that Jesus loves you, but I'm his favorite. So keep that in mind, write that down. What do we got planned for plans for the rest of the weekend, man? Brent, anything?
No, I'm just kind of looking forward to tomorrow's games. But honestly, not a whole lot going on this week. I'm going to try and lay low, and then and we'll have the cup check on Saturday. So looking forward to that.
Aaron, what do you got?
I'm going to go try and find a credential holder, and then I'm going to go home and watch the Carolina Coyotes game.
Outstanding. Who do you think's going to win in that game?
Neither one of them are very good, but
who's in net tonight for the Coyotes? Is it Smith?
They haven't said yet, but I think it might be Dubnyk. Smith's played the last couple. So
okay, all right. Joel, what do you got going?
Tonight I'm gonna go see a flick.
Yeah, are you taking your friend whose graduation you stepped out on to come into the show?
No, she's headed all the way back home. So,
okay.
I'm gonna go see Nightcrawler.
Oh,
yeah,
ooh, there you go.
That's pretty good.
You could post a review for us.
Okay,
I heard that's supposed to be really good.
Yeah, it looks good, but Gyllenhaal's.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. You know what I watched last night? First time was Freaky Friday or one with the vampire. No, not that one. I forgot what it was. Was it Fright Night? I forgot which one. The one with the vampire lives next door. With
vampire hookers.
See, now you just got my mind all messed up.
Disturbing behavior.
No, I'll have to.
That movie with Shia LaBeouf, Disturbia.
You can stop.
Lost Boys.
Good movie. You know what? Lost Boys is one of those. The Lost Boys is one of those movies that I'll watch if there's nothing else on and I come across it. I'll watch it all the time.
Mine's Behind Enemy Lines. I've seen that movie like 1,000 times.
Mine's Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction or Big Lebowski.
Fiction, yeah, it's one of those. Any Ace Ventura movies, and watch those.
Oh, yeah.
And basically any Jim Carrey movies.
Even the little SNL thing with Jim Carrey doing the McConaughey thing.
Oh yeah, we were watching that. If you haven't had the opportunity to get out, check out the spoof that Jim Carrey does on Matthew McConaughey's Lincoln. Do the one that's 2 minutes and 59 seconds on YouTube because it shows all the commercials together. It's absolutely hilarious. So, but it's pretty good. I'm a big Jim Carrey fan. A lot of people think that he's, he goes overboard or whatever. I like that type of humor, so I'm good on that. I'm still a little upset because at the beginning of the season, I saw how many times the Patriots were going to be on TV. I was like, I don't need the NFL Network. I don't really need it. But tomorrow's game, I'm still a little upset it's not, so I will be over at Max's to watch that game tomorrow. So, yeah. Moving on. All right. So, again, I want to thank everybody for coming in. Thanks for all the listeners out there. We appreciate you. We'll see you Tuesday night at 7:30 Mountain Standard Time here on the ivetx.com studios. That's our media network. Later.
Oh, say, can you see